years.
Yeah. So are we having tea time?
Yeah, we're having tea.
All right. All right. Get ready to watch the most cringeworthy 9 seconds of your entire life. Okay. This is from Real Media Player. Oh, he's not a steel toe guy. Because you have to get the internet. There's no getting the internet. They get to.
Who has to get the internet?
I got the internet going.
Out of there. Let's see if a fresh voice can help. And I talked to her parents. And then yesterday, one of Kayla's family members got in touch with me. We spoke, and they wanted my help in getting Kayla out of the house so she could talk to her and perhaps get her what's going on there. Without divulging too much, Kayla has expressed an interest in stopping the drugs, stopping all that, but never quite strong enough to put. That's his part in it. I said no. They can say no. I said no. April and Kayla can say no. It's not an excuse that, well, he just came on really strong, and the only one who was mildly receptive to stop, or the only one who was receptive to stopping was Kayla. The problem with Kayla was after that, there was no plan of action. There was no, how does that look? How do we do that? One story Kayla did tell me is that, and again, this isn't just a story I heard from her, is that the last named, that Nick agreed. But then when that day came and they ran out, Nick and Kayla disagreed on this by that point, and April and Nick were on one side of reloading. Kayla was on the other side. Again, this is a story I got from her. This is not gospel. It jives with what I've seen personally, and again, I've only talked about the shit from personal experience. This is a personal conversation I had with Kayla Rekieta, but I've also had many conversations with Kayla in her wishing to stop. But anytime I would talk to my wife about it, first of all, that was, Kayla was the only one who expressed any interest in quitting. But again, to not let her off the hook, putting a plan in action and doing it. So I talked to April's parents a couple days ago to get her out of there. I talked to a relative of Kayla's, and we were planning, I guess, what could be called an intervention. They wanted my help, bright futures. They deserve better parents. And I'm not saying Nick and Kayla can't be those better parents, but they deserve better parents than they have. They are better, smarter human beings. And April kind of became like Nick. Like I said, Kayla's the only one who expressed a desire to stop. And I think this will be right. I had been talking about, guys, let's cut this out. Guys, let's stop. There was some headway with Kayla in talking about stopping, and there was interest there, and I tried arrogance as well, so that there's a lot of mixed feelings on that. Kayla, really, I'm having a tough time with, because I had a lot of conversations with her about not doing this, and that was the refill that they probably got caught with this time. So if Kayla would have won that vote,
they might not be sitting in the clink right now.
We honestly, we went drinking together. It was a great time. April and Kayla got along great, and we were both from Minnesota, so we both had children, and we're like, maybe we get the kids together sometime and all that. So that's kind of where it started. A pretty organic, pretty normal.
We'd be better off without you.
What happened was I was talking to, was I talking more to Kayla or April? I can't remember. And I was with my kids, and a bunch of friends were over at my house. And April and I were having a lot of problems, so I was probably talking to Kayla. And she goes, "Oh, when are you coming back to hang out?" We certainly didn't want to be around each other, so that's where it went. I know Kayla had a problem with it, but it's
I can understand why.
Theory on that, knowing them the way I do, is either the cops took them to the ground, which I don't know if that's the case, Or Kayla, after the shit face stream, might have thrown something at him, might have hit him in a fight or something like that.
Which is, do you think
I don't.
Kayla, do you think Kayla like actually is involved, or was she just arrested because she was there? That was my one thing I couldn't figure out.
Because he had a black eye, he got beat up by somebody.
He had that black eye before the cops came.
Yeah,
that was confirmed.
I'm thinking Kayla chucked something at him. That's my opinion.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but you know,
I think you should rekindle everything and try again. Give it a second shot. Why not?
Wait, with Kayla? No, I'm kidding. I'm fucking kidding. That was a joke.
Substances. So it might be that. Yeah, it does. If you look it up, it does include the sale, which means that it's very possible that Kayla, Nick, and Ape were actually manufacturing and selling cocaine.
With the powder on the nose isn't strong enough. I mean, the pastor stuff and the Kayla's own sister ratting him out.
You have I didn't know about that one.
Mm-hmm. Since I've left that house, because I've been like so scared to drink hard booze. Like I'm not kidding. Like watching him, and watching, like Kayla told me, she's like, between April and Nick, like the booze is disappearing really fast around here.
But she didn't drink.
Like what?
That's what
I'll stick to beer. You want to know a weird, dumb story? It's just a stupid story.
Yes,
it doesn't mean
absolutely.
anything. So Kayla and I went on this kick for a few weeks where we would get a bottle of wine.
Okay.
And we would drink wine. Every corner of like what that studio, like I did shows from that studio. I was down there, like Kayla and I have been down there before when like him and April sat down to do the show. Like meanwhile,
addiction is a bitch. I'm not shitting on that, but Jesus.
Meanwhile, Kayla's crying. They're like, Kayla, are you crying because Aaron's gone? No, I'm just crying because anyone who's not Nick is gone. I'm sad that my placeholder is gone.
And was she really sad, or was she like, oh wow, I guess it's a lot easier to
she was
to hide anymore, not even from our children. They don't know the difference. Yeah.
I mean, the texts I have about how everyone's low and everyone's shitty and you were right, this is all falling apart, and then April going, Kayla's full of shit, and do
you ever think that's just to stop you from saying anything?
No, because April never gave a shit.
No, but do you think Kayla saying that to you, being like, you were right, we're really a mess over here?
No, because those two really were a mess the entire time.
Yeah.
Like that I fully believe. But
which two?
Her and Nick. Kayla and Nick.
Okay.
They were a fucking... Well, and April and Nick were a mess too, because they were fucking doing drugs together. They'd fight over everything. I mean, the whole thing got remarkably untenable. To the fucking doctor, like we did last time we went for that. But she was mad because Kayla got to ride in the Mustang and not her, so she was mad at Nick. It's just insane.
Listen, addict, other issues, but you can't really. I think it all really makes sense to them.
Yeah, or like when Kayla wanted to sit down in the studio during Nick's show one night, and April threw a fucking fit. I came home from boxing early because April's like, she's going down there and she doesn't give a shit about his fucking show. And he's told me that she ruined that fucking show for him and he didn't love it anymore because of her. And that's not for her. That's my spot. And I'm like, Jesus.
Sounds pretty sister wivey, pretty culty to me.
Oh my God. To Keanu, but I got a text message. I won't say a threatening text message. I got a text message from Kayla that came off as threatening. And it made me upset. It made me feel. Tell me.
Okay.
She goes, when the cover with a Q, that's what Kayla called the four of us. Cover with a Q. She had a name for it.
Wait.
Yeah.
The end of your program, spelled
Qover. Kayla came up with that name. She wanted a name for the four of us. She came up with cover.
Okay. Jesus God.
Qover.
Go ahead.
We all promised that if it dissolved, we wouldn't go after each other online. Well, you guys also probably would have promised you'll never get arrested. So this next thing, I'll let everyone else decide if this is a threat or not. We all have things to lose. what if it gets back to Ashley, mother of my children, that you enjoyed Molly quite often and had a relationship outside your marriage with someone you brought around the kids? You are not invincible.
And that's all she said. About
The
right.
rest goes into other things. It's not.
So it's basically like, shut your mouth, or we're going to tell your ex-wife that you partook in drugs with us. And I mean, that's pretty damn threatening.
Yeah, had a relationship outside your marriage. First of all, if there's anybody in this world who's going to believe that I had a relationship outside my marriage, it's my first wife.
Right. She's like, oh, yeah, story checks out.
Yeah,
Next.
What else? What else you got? So then that pissed me off something fierce. So I wrote back to her. I go, first of all, I've already told my ex-wife about the things I've done. So that's, fine. And by the way, for those of you who go, Aaron's lying about drugs and this and that. Well, that's a text from Kayla that you enjoyed Molly quite a few times, as I admitted. And I said, don't ever, my response to that was, don't ever threaten me with my children again. And she goes, it's not a threat. I'm just reminding you that you have things to lose too.
It's not a threat. It's a reminder.
Yeah.
Love the cover. Suck my dick.
Yeah.
That is a fucking culty thing to do. Just so you know, if you keep talking about this, we may not be able to live our lives as addicts as much as we'd like to, even though you're gone and we don't give a shit. So we're going to say, just a reminder, you have 3 children and an ex-wife. Bitch, I know that. Thank you. Are you crazy?
Yeah.
Yes.
And again, does that sound like a way you talk to somebody you quote unquote love or is your soulmate, quote unquote?
And then they gaslight you and you go, don't threaten me. They go, no, we love you. This isn't a threat. It's just a reminder. We're looking out for you.
Yeah.
Fuck off. Suck my dick. Ew.
The number 3 reason I came out with a lot of this stuff is I've talked about the NDA, right?
You said that April wanted an NDA.
Yeah, April asked for an NDA. This is before the arrest. So you can't.
Yeah, the leader of Cover with a Q speaking through April wanted an NDA. Yeah.
Nick wanted an NDA. Nick, now there was never any NDA drawn up. It never came to fruition. Anything. We'll talk about that in a second. But I believe that if that NDA would have been written up, it wouldn't have just been April in it. I believe other people would have been included in that NDA. Do we name...
If it were just for April, fine, I guess, but...
Your Wednesday episode this week, do we title it Duck and Cover with a Q?
Yes.
Duck and Cover could be a good name.
With a Q.
Yeah.
God.
So you don't like that they called it a cover?
No, I don't. I don't like anything spelled with a Q.
You don't think that you think that might be a little culty?
Do I think it?
Yeah.
No, I know it. Convince me otherwise. QAnon, some weird Q question mark. Was there a question? I just wrote it down. I literally just wrote it down. Was there a weird upside down question mark at the end? Why come up like we're just having fun being adults with the kids out of the house? Oh, wait, they weren't out of the house. But also, we need a really creepy name for what we're doing, spelled with a Q. What? Oh, Jesus, God.
When I talked to different people, they said, well, before there's any NDA, give them a reason to not have an NDA. Go ahead, let it all out. If it's all out, they're going to drop the NDA thing pretty fucking quick because it's all out there. And even then I didn't. That was around the same time Nick had his pass out stream. Nick's pass out stream was way more the reason I talked about drugs and everything else. Because I'm like, well, the cat's out of the bag. Everyone knows this motherfucker's got a problem. He showed up with powder on his nose. So
his friends are talking about it. I mean, it's very clear what's happening here. So
the game is up. And then number 4 was the arrest. That was kind of the final straw where I'm like, because you got to think, these 3 things came before it. And each time one of these 3 things happened, you got to look at it from my perspective. You go, oh, now there's more fucking shit out there in the world. Blah, blah, wonder what's coming next. Then the arrest happens and I go, okay, I'm going to share it all because I don't know what the fucking next thing's going to be. Is somebody going to turn up dead?
You never fucking know. So Ooh.
Elza Belza in the Rumble chat writes, Kayla is Q, confirmed.
Maybe.
So
like when they sat you down in the bathroom like a child and said, you're getting too close to April. I mean,
Kayla.
Kayla. Whatever.
Kayla.
Jesus God.
You got to spell Kayla with a Q now, right?
You must.
And Nick
yeah.
Rekieta with a Q.
Nick.
You're like, I don't think you're done dealing with this, like trauma-wise and everything. Slam Piece always says, she goes, one day you're going to fully kind of grasp onto how fucking worked over you were by this Kayla.
That's what all of them. I think you'll really see.
I was the pugilist. April was the Valkyrie. He was chaos. And I can't remember what Kayla was.
Yes, he wrote letters. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hilarious to watch him. I wonder what April's thinking at night.
April and Kayla
I wonder. Yeah.
April and Kayla are the ones doing it right.
I wonder what April's thinking at night.
April and Kayla
I wonder. Yeah.
April and Kayla are the ones doing it right.
Yeah, stay quiet. Oh,
I mean, what they should do is be cooperative.
I mean, it's hilarious to watch him. I wonder what April's thinking at night.
April and Kayla
I wonder. Yeah.
April and Kayla are the ones doing it right.
Yeah, stay quiet. Oh,
I mean, what they should do is be cooperating with CPS and working on getting the kids back. I mean, they need to do more if they're not doing that. They need to work on taking responsibility for what we all did and then getting your kids back. But like, at least they're shutting the fuck up.
I say this for April, and I guess I'm going to say it for Kayla too. The three of them should, if they are in any contact with each other, which I guess they are, they shouldn't be. If they want to come back into their throuple when they're sober and over all this shit, it would be like a Lifetime film, I guess. Fine.
So when you're sober,
now, I think it's not the best time. They're obviously not all the best influences on each other. How about that? So
guys, you can move on. You know what you can find? Slam Piece.
True. I think you would maybe know. Right.
So they were at Target, and it was Nick and Kayla this time. The fucking band got back together. The family.
Pool house or guest house or whatever house is on my property or whatever.
Kiwi Farms.
I got to take Kayla to Target to show that.
That's my Target, and don't take her in the Mustang. That's my car. Is because I didn't know that I hadn't shared this before, but I read a text from Kayla on the show where she had blackmailed me and said, oh, basically doing that mafia shit, like be ashamed if your ex-wife was to find out that you were doing Molly and, you know, having sex outside of your marriage and having a relationship, extramarital affair is what she said, meaning with her. And you're not invincible. You've got things to lose too. And I was like, really? And somebody in the YouTube comments or on Kiwi Farm said it best. They're like, this is why blackmail never works. Because all you do is you motivate the person to just tattle on themselves. And that's what I did. I just ratted on myself. So when someone went, be ashamed if your ex-wife were to find out, I'm like, all right, well, guess what? She already knows. Now I'm going to tell everybody. If you're going to threaten me. That's what I said. I said, don't threaten me with my kids ever again. Oh, no, I'm not threatening you. I'm just reminding you that you have things to lose. That's threatening someone. That's like, nice house. Be ashamed if it were to start on fire. Did he have to go see a client or did he have to reload? I don't know, but he left lunch. He left Kayla, April, and I at lunch for like a half hour. And he went off and he did something and he came back.
Nice, you know, but at the same time, Nick never got that experience, so that's why he wants to be able to live that and date. You can't date with Kayla, and now Kayla's cool with April. It's like that's almost an impossible find for him.
No,
or maybe they don't like each other. Is that the?
No, they do not like each other.
They don't.
April, I believe April has it out for Kayla's spot. At least the way April used to talk to me. I never thought Kayla had it out for April, and I spent a lot of intimate conversations with Kayla. She never. When April brought a bunch of her clothes over to her, she goes, a fucking woman is moving into my fucking house and I hate it. And I'm like, and then April was like, Kayla doesn't love Nick. Like April's being like the young mistress who's like fucking forgetting herself a little bit. And she's like, she doesn't love him the way I do, and she doesn't understand. She's really hurt him and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, let me guess. Nick told you this. I'm guessing. He doesn't have a history of being manipulative in any way, shape, or form. I'm sure he's telling you the truth. But
it's the Steel Toe Rekieta universe. That needs its own name. What have we come up with a name for that yet?
You could go with what Kayla called the four of us. That was the thing that came out today. From
the corner? What did you guys go? What were...
Cover with a Q. I end up going, all right, well, here, let me pull up this text from this date, and here's what it says. Like today we read one where Kayla fucking blackmailed to go to the mother of my children about all the things we'd done. And she's
I saw that with Keanu. I saw that clip.
Yeah,
That's what
I would say that while we were there, I mean, I don't know exactly how much she drank. My time was split. But Kayla did say to me at one point, she goes, I need to talk to you about April's drinking. Our bottles in this house are disappearing really fast.
That's what Kayla said?
Yeah. And so, I mean, apparently it must have been at the front of my life a lot of the time. So
yeah, but let's be real. You were the odd man out pretty soon, right? I imagine. I know you and Kayla were friendly, but I imagine that Nick was so worried about trying to appease Kayla because he was bringing in April that you were probably an afterthought. I'm just guessing that. I don't know that, but I imagine very soon when April.
Also, I don't think I was supposed to. I definitely wasn't supposed to influence Kayla as much as I maybe did. Like he started to get really hawkish about like reading her texts and like keeping an eye on the toilet.
He reads Kayla's phone and texts, so he's probably doing that with April.
He and April sat me down while Kayla was sleeping once and said, you two are being too close in public. And when you talk,
I've boxed and stuff. Those gyms are kind of grimy play. It's fun to watch somebody spar, though. It is interesting to watch that.
Kayla would watch a lot. Nick would watch a little and then he'd leave and come back. Like April and Kayla would watch the most, and then Nick would kind of be in and out.
Yeah.
I don't think he
because you look more manly getting in a ring. April should be better than this. April, I mean, if you see this, it's like you're the third wheel, and Kayla should have a little more self-respect. No offense, Kayla, I don't know you, but it's like this is like sister wife stuff. And if you've ever watched reality TV, it never works.
I don't want to humiliate anyone, and that's where I'll leave it.
Who told you the stories, Kayla or Nick? Nick told you the stories. Yeah.
Opinion was angling for the top spot. I don't know.
She wants to be the top. Yeah,
I don't know if she's backed off that or not, but she was angling. And honestly, for Kayla, it would be a better idea to just cut your losses and go out and just maybe let that happen. You could get away and get your fucking kids back.
But Kayla probably doesn't want to go out there and date. She probably, wants to. She has this connection, 5 kids with the guy. That is. When you got with Kayla, did she like love bomb you or whatever? Did you guys just like instantly start? I mean, I don't know if you said I love you. I mean, did you say I love you to Kayla?
We both did, yeah.
No, you did not.
I mean, I don't know. Like in front of me? No.
Like, would you be like, I love you, April? Did you ever say I love you, Kayla, in front of Nick?
I don't think so, no.
Because that's too awkward. That's
weird.
More awkward than sex. That's more awkward probably than the sex. Is saying I love you. But you said that. You and Kayla said that. Were you guys on Molly, MDMA? I'm guessing.
I don't know. It got weird, dude.
You're just trying new things out. It was obvious that the relationship was probably over at that point.
Yeah.
And then you got a little bit of Kayla, and that probably ended up backfiring, and with you in a weird way.
His wife after he fucked her. That's amazing. Reminds me of Kayla and I. I used to I would just go off on race rants after. And then that weekend, someone writes to me and says, oh, by the way, Nick must be listening to the show because I saw him out with Kayla this weekend. That's kind of like the vibe I have. And he's like, oh, not going to make it. I got a family emergency. He didn't have a family emergency. Fucking Kayla was crying and howling because I said I wasn't coming back. That's why that was the Friday he canceled the show. And then he just probably went nose deep. They slept right through court. And she got a conviction. That's when Kayla got mad at me because I went on my show the next day and I made fun of Nick for not being able to get his fucking lazy ass out of bed to show up for traffic court for, I don't want to tell you this. I bought Kayla a couple Star Trek action figures for Valentine's Day. Different Ataris are. King of All Yetis says, for Valentine's Day this year, Aaron got Kayla, Kayla got Star Wars toys, Nick got April's, and April's got herpes. That's for $679. And a Star Wars Millennium Falcon priced at $849.99. Yeah, Kayla has a shitload of fucking Lego boxes laying around her bedroom and shit that like have never been put together. Watch she's wearing. I know this because she showed it to me when he gave it to her. Kayla, I gave Kayla like some, like she got some steel toe tank tops and shit and like some clothes and some shit. That's Nick's watch she's wearing in the picture. It's like, could you guys just, I'm not saying anyone has to root for Kayla. You don't have to, but like, and you don't have to feel for her. Like all of these people, you know, I teamed up to have one of the most popular episodes of Misery Loves Company in the modern era.
Yep.
So it didn't help that was the episode where also the news of April, Kayla, and Nick getting arrested happened also.
You know,
but
things happen.
But before that happened, we were doing a great. So Kevin thinks he's just saying a jokey thing. By the way,
Schwarzen's a dick rider.
this is why like Nick and Kayla and April probably hate my guts because even though I'm saying things that I think are entertaining and they're also true, and Dick, knock it off. I hate you. But like, here's the difference between Kevin and I. I wouldn't call Nick or Kayla or April and go, why do you hate me? I know. And he talks about how fucking retarded it is, but he ends up dovetailing into how I was groomed. Not April, not Nick, not Kayla, not anyone else in the cover. But me. I was the one who was groomed. The North won the Civil War, and you're like, whoa, Aaron was right. No, I just told you shit that happened. Yes, Nick would get frustrated and angry sometimes when him and Kayla would fight, or if he would just get stressed out a lot, and he's such a man baby that he would start hitting daughter. And I fucking threw him out of my house. He apparently, according to Kayla, he started hitting himself in the fucking Mustang. So Kayla threw a Popeyes iced tea in his face.
That's not a cheap car to be throwing fucking iced tea around in.
I've never been more proud of Kayla in my life, I have to say.
That's kind of funny.
I thought that was one of the coolest Kayla moments of all time. I have never considered this before. Now, Keanu has kind of theorized that I was being used by Kayla as a distraction because she didn't like her marriage and whatever.
Yeah.
She may not have loved me, or like she said, oh, you're my soulmate, I love you. Nick wanted his wife fucked. Okay. Nick, there was that time at our house where like Kayla came down in lingerie and gave me this birthday gift of this nice, while this is happening. So, wow, that's fucking interesting. And then Nick would always like quiz Kayla and I, like especially towards the end, Nick would quiz Kayla and I on what we did. Did you do this? Did you do that? What the fuck? When she put her hand, oh my God, Jesse PS might have a point. That night that you were watching Trumbo in the bed and then Kayla came in and I left. Did you guys have sex that night?
So was
I mean, in fairness, I always fucked the right,
and he got his drug buddy.
They always, like April and Nick always did this thing, and April always said this to me privately too. She's like, you and Kayla get to be way more affectionate than Nick and I, and they would always blame Kayla. They're like, Kayla bothers Nick, and we don't get to be as affectionate as you two are. We don't do as much physical stuff as you two do.
Imagine
he self-groomed his own poster.
Imagine you're Kayla, his wife, and you walk into the room seeing him, and you're already like, they're on the outs, they're having real troubles right now. And she walks in and she like has a handful of whatever he's asked her to bring in, and she catches him signing the Joker poster. Imagine that, the chill down your spine when you see your own husband. Joker.
Or even worse, she helps.
Today is the final day of my former life.
Do you think she's got a Harley Quinn poster that she signed in her room?
She put a little lipstick kiss mark on it. Really sealed the deal.
I wonder if he made a shelf for the Baldo. Let's find out.
It's a Child Protective Services thing. In the matter of the welfare of the children of Kayla and Nick Rekieta, I'm hyperventilating a little. My kids were never around cocaine. John W. Mueller is Kayla's lawyer. I know John Mueller. John
Oh, yeah?
Mueller's a good guy. Bus, we know what the truth is. Nick, stop. If April and Kayla are still using drugs, they probably thought last night was some knight in shining armor performance. If they're not on drugs, they've packed their bags in horror and left during that insane rant. My bet is on the former. But I heard Nick's criticism. He goes, and he said things that were untrue. No, I didn't. Well, I tried to give him advice over. You tried to give me advice? You tried to give me advice. You are serving my wife cocaine. One time, literally on a La Pope license plate. You are serving my wife at the time cocaine, babbling in her ear, confirming every paranoid delusion she has about me being evil and terrible. And hey, Nick, all of those fights started with me saying she probably shouldn't be doing cocaine. And then it turned into I'm a monster because you people are addicts. And that's what you fucking do. And I had to get away from you fucking people because I was doing terrible shit. I was being dragged into the fucking muck and making bad decisions. Bad decisions that I made, by the way. My fault. I own them. I own them. So you can go on your stream and you can go, he's not taking responsibility. He's acting like a hero. Never once. Never once. I never said I'm a hero. I did bad, terrible, evil, degenerate things. And I'm the only one the only hero thing I've done is I'm the only one out of us four degenerates who came out and admitted it and said, I want to do better. I did wrong and I want to do better. That's it. I humbled myself. And Nick said, and I don't have to do it publicly in front of you people. Hair follicle test, but pulled the consent to release the results of the tests so the court couldn't see them. Yeah, because Nick and Kayla paid their bond. So the results of the test couldn't come out. Now, I'm sure they would have been caked in it. How bad would it have been if Nick and Kayla had tested positive for less cocaine than the kid did? Oh, boy. I tell you. This person emailed me and said, Aaron, check this post on the farms. It has a lot of things Nick and Kayla have said about the daughter that tested positive for coke, such as she's going to kill somebody someday. Parents. And the only reason I say this is because I talked to, I've told the story, Kayla's cousin was trying to organize a way to get her out of the house just before they got arrested. And she reached out to me with those kids. And Kiwi Farms was like, well, I thought the kids were with Kayla's parents. Aaron said that. And when I said that, it was true. I didn't know that they weren't going to be there permanently. I do know that I talked to Kayla's mom and she said there's a huge fucking checklist that CPS needs, that for you to be a foster family, you need this. Over. All right. So this is Keanu, you've had your theories about Nick and Kayla and me and April and all this. I want to see how you feel about Jesse's theory. Interesting because there were times where, I told this story before. Nick had Kayla dress in like barely there lingerie one time around my birthday. And she brought this gift down the stairs. We were at my house. I was sitting on the couch. Kayla came downstairs in barely any clothing. And she brought me this gift of this cigar.
Already being cooked up. And then he's like, what a culty thing to do. Yeah, Kayla, one of my wives, one of my sister wives, getting some lingerie, do something nice for Aaron. Come down and perfectly normal to them.
Yeah.
Okay.
The last night I was ever there, Kayla, he walked in and Kayla and I were, she was standing by the bed. I was kneeling. This is gay. And we were making out. And we both were in different states of undress or whatever. And Nick walked in, and then we went
kneeling on the bed.
Yeah, so Nick walked in, and we went, whoa, kind of what normal people do in their privacy. They're like, oh,
Right.
Okay.
Oopsie doopsie.
And then Nick starts quizzing me on the phone. What were you two doing? I'm like, we're just, why'd you pull away so quickly? because we wanted privacy, and it was fucking weird that you came in because you're her husband.
You're like, this is all weird.
Yeah, you're
Can
like,
I have a stitch?
I'm like, this is just,
privacy, weirdo.
yeah, I'm like, this is fucked up and weird. And he's like, what were you guys doing? And then it was like, the other night when she was doing this, did you have sex that night? John W. Mueller is an attorney out of Litchfield. I've met him. I've talked to him. He's a sharp guy. Why he doesn't have Kayla in fucking rehab and divorcing her husband, I have no idea. Because now, especially was a victim, will 100% be above suspicion most of the time.
But what you don't understand, Aaron, is that I'm all Kayla has, and I've convinced her. So
yeah, well, that's true, Nick. Nick, that's a good point. And just throw those red boys at us. We're happy. So, Dawn Weber, attorney for Nick. John Mueller, attorney for Kayla. Carter Grenier, attorney at law for Thune. They're up there. Number 3, parentage. Kayla Rekieta is the mother of the minor children. By the way, after this, like after talking to everyone who had nothing to do with this, like my opinion of Kayla had gone down considerably. After this, it was not only in the shitter, but it was like you. I know a couple people in my life who were like, I was fucking sick, and you might be one of them. Like I was fucking sick with how much you were kind of simping for Kayla a little bit at the beginning.
You just thought you were, making your way out of a cult situation. So it might take a minute.
Parentage. Kayla Rekieta is the mother of the minor children. Nicholas Rekieta is the father of the minor children. I've never read words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. I have a new most terrifying statement. Nicholas Rekieta.
My mommy and daddy are Kayla and Nick.
Nicholas Rekieta, you are the father. I can just imagine April in the state she's in right now going, why didn't anybody say anything about me in this? Am I not as close as Kayla is? Isn't it? So she's his arrest buddy now? That's not fair. Nick and I went to jail together. Kayla stayed behind. I went to jail with Nick. I was there for him. Started asking me really uncomfortable sex questions. And April went to the doctor for another sinus infection. Kayla's parents, all of the Rekieta children, myself, April, Nick, Kayla, her parents, Nick's parents were there having dinner. Nick's parents had literally had the kids all week, so Nick and Kayla could do whatever they wanted. Bob and Celeste were watching the kids. Additional facts, the court determined that protective care shall continue. The court makes the following explicit and individualized findings in support of continued placement. So, like Nick and Kayla's lawyers got to, so the day they went and paid their bond, it's all coming together now. Nick and Kayla were subject to their first random drug test on May 30th. May 30th is also the day Nick went and paid the bond so there would be no conditions on their release. What does that tell you about the test they took that day?
Well, it would, if it's a hair follicle test and they got out of jail recently, it would obviously be positive.
That motherfucker was going to test positive. They were going to flunk their first test. So Nick took $10,000 fucking dollars and bought their freedom.
Yeah, but can they help that? Like, if it's a hair follicle test, even if they did it like 2 weeks ago, it might be still in their system. So, but then he'd still flunk it. Okay,
yeah, he'd still flunk it. Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. Actually, that would maybe make sense that, like, he just didn't want to flunk the first one, and he knew he had done it probably that day. Like, but it wasn't going to be out of his system if it's a hair follicle test. So that actually tells me that maybe they are trying to stay clean. They just didn't want to flunk that one. I'm trying to maybe devil's advocate. Maybe they are, but they just didn't want to flunk that one, and that they knew that they would.
They're doing
but
great.
probably not.
They're doing great is what.
What is
one of the 3 or 4 times I did coke that I looked at you and I said, I want to do one off Kayla's tit. And then I did. And you poured it out nicely. I did the line off Kayla's tit. That wasn't real cocaine. Was that salt? What was I doing? Join me. Let's go ahead and let's get Nick to release the hair follicle test from him and Kayla, and it'll prove that the state's full of shit. Oh, my God.
Right this way. Right this way. Yes, he's a very convincing 7-year-old.
Nick, Kayla, just give them the permission to release the hair follicle tests, and we can put all this ugliness behind us.
6 people.
My wife and my children. And then he said right after that, then there's another level where I care about people. Because April is the kind of psychopath who's so competitive with Kayla that April would actually give him shit after that stream, I guarantee.
He made her competitive. He made her feel like he was all she had.
I will
That's
say,
what
Kayla,
fucking... They alienate. He
says, can we get those wildly humiliating hedonism 2 stories now? Somebody said that I already told those stories where... Nick and Kayla went to swing, but Nick was on too many stimulants, so just Kayla did it while he sat there. That kind of lends to the cuck fantasy that Jesse PS was talking. If the story Nick told me is true, I don't know if it is or not, but if the story Nick told me himself is true, then yeah. And here's another thing where Kayla's kind of dog shit in that situation. Like, if you love someone, you stop. You don't keep going. Telling us about the child protection order that the state has, or the county has, against Nick and Kayla Rekieta. And by the way, bang up job their new nanny's doing. I mean, just a killer, allegedly. So we're reading this document. And so far we found out that Nick and Kayla had a hair follicle test done. Make me look like a dick. Come on. I mean, I do a good enough job of that on my own. Make me look like an asshole, Nick. Release the hair follicle test from you and Kayla. It'll be clean for coke, right? Because you didn't do any of this. The state's persecuting you. All they have to do is not do drugs and submit to a chemical assessment plan. What do Nick and Kayla do? Spend $10,000 avoiding being tested for that. You don't give a shit about your kid. Better you than me. Better you than me. You got to think about it. I mean, if Kayla decided I dodged a bullet. If Kayla had decided that she wanted to get the... If Kayla decided I dodged a bullet. If Kayla had decided that she wanted to get the fuck out of there, I might have had fucking 5 kids on my doorstep. It's no laughing matter.
Right. Also, this might sound harsh. I can't give a fuck about Colty McColterson Nick or Kayla or, unfortunately, his 5 kids because I don't know them. I do not know them. I have sympathy for them, but or else we could just sit here and be like, yeah. But again, and I don't know those kids. I don't know Nick. I don't know Kayla. That's why it's easier for me to make a joke about it. But this
is according to April. I do not have confirmation that this is true. This is just what April told me. So, like, when Kayla and I would do our business, it was, you know how that works, And I'm sorry for poisoning my child.
Right.
Hey guys, I'm sorry you read that thing where Kayla, April, and I poisoned our fucking kids. Sorry about that. I don't want to disrespect the cover. Kayla wanted all of us to raise the kids
it's not
together.
so bad.
Yeah, right.
Right this way. Right this way.
Daddy, why
is our impressions get worse and worse of him?
Is that why?
Just meaner and meaner.
Is that why Kayla said to me, "Oh, that was nice for once"? I didn't know what that meant the first time. I'm just kidding. I watched it. You did 2 giant rails of coke, and I went, dude, are you sure that's okay? After you and Kayla had a fight, and you pointed at me and yelled, "Fix her."
It's also a disease, so we gotta be.
Someone on YouTube, or someone leaving me a YouTube link saying, please confirm this is Kayla. Hold on a minute. With $5. And thank you to Matt.
Take your spouse, pass her around.
Because that's how we do it round here. Yeah, Aaron came in Kayla's ear. No, I'm sorry. I did. That never happened.
Let's go back to Chim Chim.
But what I do know is that I had a shitty thing. I ended up in a good thing. And I know that because
your marriage with Kayla into your side piece relationship with April.
Just yes-anding you? Okay.
Well, isn't that the perfect thing for him? That's what he likes.
Yeah.
He doesn't want Kayla throwing books at him because she knows the piece of shit he is. You think?
Yeah.
He doesn't want Kayla throwing books at him because she knows the piece of shit he is. You think Kayla's driven herself insane with this guy because he's good? No, you'll see it. You've been losing fucking everything. Before I lose my fucking children and my sanity, why don't I clear out of this thing? I'll tell Kayla I'm not building the studio in the spare house this weekend. I think I'm out. And then Nick will tell me that this child protection order report that shows, among other things, there's a lot of stuff in there that make Nick and Kayla look like giant pieces of shit. That's pretty disrespectful. Like, I may have learned a lot about the manipulation and how Kayla definitely didn't feel about me the way she said she did. And that hurts my feelings a little bit, whatever. But actually, Sean, the biggest thing he can do is stop making those really shitty Robin Williams jokes. Oh, that was the worst part about hanging out with Kayla while he did his show. Was watching him come up from his... Like, parents should not allow that to happen to their child. Anybody who's a real parent would not have that happen. It's fucking disgraceful. And both Nick and Kayla and the live-in nanny should be fucking ashamed of themselves.
His current girlfriend, the girl he calls 80s girl, Dick Masterson, his current girlfriend.
Kayla talked to me about her. She likes her.
Shocker. I wonder why. On your stream yesterday, I think it was.
There was no penetration.
You said that Nick was doing sneaky peeks around the corner watching you and Kayla.
Right.
So you were slam pigging.
No,
Kayla.
I wasn't slam pigging. There was not.
You were whole hog just
I
shoving
wasn't
yourself
whole
inside.
hog. That's not what I said.
Rebirthing. You dove into her pussy and
not what I
rebirthed
said.
yourself. I said that a guy who wants to see his wife fucked, even if it's a wife swap situation, if you're wanting to watch the wife get fucked, you're a cuck. I don't get the vibe from you that you were wanting to see Ape get fucked.
No.
I 100%, I think everybody does, 100% get the vibe from Nick that he wanted to see what you were slanging on his wife. And we know for a fact that the Rekietas have been doing this since long before you. This has been a thing that, and by the way, Drexel, let's talk about the gorilla in the room for a second. The Drexel thing, like, are we all pretending like that's...
Can I tell you this? I'll tell you this. This is just, I'm the guy who was there firsthand. Kayla says no. And that's there. She had no reason to lie. It was a private conversation.
Just to be clear, the liar who their child was just discovered to have cocaine.
You know what?
This is a woman who, these people are such sick liars that they sewed cocaine into their child's hair to hide it from the police.
Is that why you think the follicle test came back that way?
Well, listen, no, honestly, you brought up Ethan Van Sciver for a second there with Alex, which I don't. Why did you bring it up with him?
Because he had Ethan on his show. I was watching Alex's show before mine started.
I didn't know that because I don't watch Alex's show like most people. But now I actually might go check it out. I kind of want to see that because
bringing people together.
Yeah, exactly. Because Ethan Van Sciver said the craziest thing I've ever read in a tweet ever a few weeks ago. In order to sort of protect his friend Nick, he claimed that maybe, just maybe, it was Nick's kids that brought all the cocaine into the house. He really said that. And everybody laughed him off the internet.
Right.
I made a tweet making fun of him, saying this is like the most hollow, retarded man I've ever seen.
Right.
I don't know anything about the guy, just to be clear. Right. But I had to issue a retraction. The second I was watching you live when you discovered the thing about Nick's kid and the cocaine, and I'm like, wait a second, Ethan was right. This kid is a drug kingpin who got Nick and his wife hooked on cocaine. I mean, there's no other explanation. Apparently, the amount of cocaine they had in their system was enough to kill like a horse or something. So
that's a weird thing. It was enough for they say daily/weekend use. More brazen with the coke from the bathroom to the bedroom. This is a theory I have on how the kid could have got it. Kids sometimes come in to say goodnight to Kayla while Nick's doing his show or whatever. If she's in the bathroom or she's feeding the dog or something like that, kid could have come in, thought it was like Fun Dip or some shit and ingested it. That's a possibility I can think of.
A wild theory. I mean, like, isn't it more possible that they just left it laying around? Like, since you've been gone, it's gotten even crazier there, and it's just out everywhere.
I mean, dude, I looked at that mugshot, and none of the three of them looked the same as when I left.
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah, it seems like it got way worse. Well, I got a text. I've said this on the show. I got a text from Kayla the Monday before they got arrested, the day that Nick did his drunk, jack off stream. And Kayla texted me. She goes, "You were right. This destroyed all of us. Everybody is low. I have to stop texting you. This has destroyed everyone." Like, it was a really morose text that I got. And then the Nick thing happened on Monday. They got busted on Thursday. So I'm thinking, yeah, things got fucking bad in those 6-7 weeks.
When do you think this stuff started for them? Not for you and your involvement.
What Nick and Kayla told me was that the drug part started around when Nick was 40, so about 2.5 years ago. Is what they told me.
I mean, I've always assumed it was because of them starting to hang out with, like, he would go and be at shows with Dick Masterson, and obviously drugs are getting passed around then. Like any of these events where these guys, in fact, Alex Stein's producer of his show on the Blaze, the guy that wears that like leopard jacket, you see him on camera, JVT or whatever.
Yeah, I know that guy.
Yeah, so he I got into at the what's it called? The Ethan Ralph bowling event where Dick Masterson was there.
Yeah.
There were boots on the ground there. They were all doing drugs at that event. And that guy, JVT, Alex's producer, was the drug dealer there. So I know.
Do you know that for a fact? I don't know that for a fact. That's allegedly.
Let's see. I've already been threatened to be sued today. I'm still willing to say it out loud.
I will say allegedly.
When I say deal, he was at the very least handing out drugs to members there. I don't know if Alex did it or not, but I mean, Dick Masterson, like, he doesn't hide the fact that he does this sort of thing. So, you know, when Dick's at these events, he's doing that. And you know, Nick going there, Dick is his daddy. He's probably like trying to emulate him. And then also the simp shit, like the cuck shit. That's another thing that Dick is into. So he's now emulating that. Because I do wonder, it's like so odd to me at 40 to just start doing all this stuff to jump in. But I guess maybe that's when it happens for people, really. Like your marriage is sort of flailing and life is
know about any of it.
He was about to go Cosby there for a minute. I don't care about the pills or the swinging or the wife swapping. You just take some wine, you give it to Kayla, and you say, drink this, and they go to sleep.
Hey, there he is.
To give you your kids back if they tested positive for coke and you've paid your bond, so you can't be tested.
Right.
They're not going to give you your kids back. So Nick and Kayla had a hair follicle test too. They can't know the results of it because they paid their bond right after they went and paid their bond, so you had a choice, Johnny. Entertain this for a moment.
Okay.
Nick and Kayla had a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Release the hair follicle test and don't pay $10,000 to a bail bondsman. And then you'll have this hair follicle. Again, Nick had a fork in the road. Choose your kids. Choose yourself. He chose himself. Kayla too. Let's stop letting, I'm sorry. I've got a terrible habit of letting Kayla off the hook. Kayla too. She had a fork in the road and she chose herself over her 5 children. Save yourself because you can't. But your wife, you can still save her. Kayla just shows up in the courtroom. They're about to sentence her to 5 years. And the judge just goes, I gave your husband the chance to save you. And he declined. Kayla's sitting there talking to the judge. You don't have to do this. The judge goes, why does everybody say that? Hurt us in the election by talking about us. Take a swigger with my diff with 199 says, if only God could smite Rekieta, Kayla, and April. Jesus. I mean,
that's rather harsh.
I mean, I'm more indifferent. I don't give a shit. If April had any balls, she'd fucking produce the messages that Nick's teenage daughter sent April when Kayla and Nick were fighting so fucking loud that she messaged April and said, Mom and Dad are fighting and I'm scared. In bed with April when it happened. We were looking at the messages. We were calling Nick and Kayla. We were trying to get in touch with them and go, guys, cut it the fuck out. Your kids are messaging us. And, if I left, maybe. And she threw out the hypotheticals about leaving. If she had actually left, and this is, you can say whatever you want about you and April and you and Kayla and how terrible of a guy I am, how evil I am. If Kayla said, I'm going to go stay at the Imholte's house and I'm going to bring the 5 kids, she'd still have her children. Let me put it out there right now because I haven't, I don't think, in this whole time. I never saw either Nick or Kayla give their children cocaine, obviously. I never saw it out of that bathroom unless they had it in Kayla had this tray that she would put in her purse. She named it Tray. Get it?
Yep.
Level, similar. I understand.
Oh, how kids are. They get into stuff. Who knows? Other people are suggesting maybe Kayla because the daughter had ADHD, undiagnosed, was going fucking crazy, tried to medicate the kid with cocaine, which you have to, so that's so evil.
Whoa.
And I'll say this too.
I would say it would have to be Nick or a joint decision. Kayla's not the type to go out on a limb and make that kind of a call. She's not that like confident or sure of herself.
Just on the off chance that this will work.
Yeah. Nick, if Nick gave it to her, it would be Nick going, now the medical properties of this are so good. He'd be sure of himself. He'd be 100% knowing he did
the right
thing. Yeah.
Every single person who messaged me about this, because we weren't sure if it was real, if it wasn't real. Rekieta at this point has confirmed that it is real.
Yeah, we waited for a while.
Every single person has said, like, and you know, our audience, like the scum of the earth, they're like, we really hope that this isn't the case.
Me either.
Like, every single person, and me too. I don't really
Look, if it was a false positive, that'd be fucking great.
Yeah.
That'd be really good. That means a 9-year-old didn't ingest cocaine. But I do believe the test, and fuck him forever and fuck her forever for that happening. You have to be a special kind of fuck up for that to happen.
And I don't know, man. Like, yeah, the test comes back. It's a false positive. Like, none of us are going to feel really, really bad. None of us are going to be like, oh, God, I feel so bad for saying that he might have done. No, we're like, oh, thank God. All of us are going to feel a great sense of relief.
Yeah.
Like, thank God the 9-year-old didn't do blow.
I mean, hell, theoretically, I would guess they could charge me if they wanted to. They could charge Nick and Kayla with something extra. They could charge April with something. You know, a lot of you think about more the opposite behavior. But every fork in the road that he and Kayla have had to get their kids back, they've chosen their own case. Like, you can release the hair follicle test. So I would confront Nick about it. I would say, dude, this shit's got to stop. I did say at one point, I go, it's going to destroy everybody. Yeah, it's that text I got from Kayla that Monday. She goes, you were right. The Monday, that was the day of Nick's, jacking off, falling asleep, passing out stream. The one that got his house busted, among other things. But I told him, I go, this is going to fucking destroy everybody. I guess it's bad. And he told me, no, what you don't understand about cocaine is that, let's say you have this much stress in your life, and your brain has this much of a threshold for stress. The cocaine takes your ability to handle the stress up to here. What he did say in response to ADHD, he said, it's like the stimulants they give kids with ADHD. Their ability to focus is here, and the stuff they have to focus on is here. You give them a stimulant that jacks up their ability to process and focus stuff to here. He compared the two. He didn't say cocaine could do the same things that ADHD did. He just said for stress management, cocaine did the same for you, in his opinion. And now this is complete and total bullshit. The reason your stress level is up here is because you started doing cocaine and now your brain needs more of it. So your stress level is up here because you haven't gotten it enough cocaine. You need to drop your stress level, not increase your threshold with blow. But he compared the medicines to each other and what their functions were. That's the comparison he gave. And the smallest thing can be a giant fight. Like, Kayla, why did you forgive Aaron for not reading those 2 chapters in the dog book he said he read? Can't trust him. He lied about the dog book. I told the dog book story last night on the members only stream. Kayla bought me a book called, get ready for this. And look, it is cute. She bought it for the name. It's called Proverbs. It was a story about dogs, and the story about, but relating to Proverbs in the Bible. And they would just be these inspirational stories. And she goes, I just thought the name was cute and you would like the pun. And I'm like, that's very sweet. Thank you. That's very nice of you. And I would read chapters of this book from time to time because it
amused you.
Well, and also, someone got it for you. You should read it. So one night, Kayla's having a tough night. Her and Nick are fighting or some shit, always. And I told her, I read 2 chapters in your book and they were great. Thank you so much for this book. Now, I had been reading a shitload of chapters. I just didn't that day. I just told a little white lie to help her feel better, right?
You're a horrible person.
She sees the book in the entryway. I had forgotten to grab the book on my way out. I left it on the entryway as I was putting my shoes on. And this became a crisis for all three of them. Can you believe Aaron lied? Now, mind you, these are people who claim they're not addicted to cocaine. They're looking me right in the eye and saying, it's no problem, we're good. But I lied about the doggy book. I'm the animal.
Well, I mean, it is technically the name is innocent, but it's a religious book that's blasphemous.
I guess it's blasphemous. So then,
as deeply religious were people that the Rekietas are. I mean, they hold to that shit.
Exactly. This is morality we're talking about here while we're fucking each other's wives. So after like a day or two, it blows over with Kayla and I. It's not a big deal, not a problem. Nick is incensed about that. How could you forgive him? You would never forgive me that easily. That was always a big thing, too. Nick's like, she looks at you in a way that I don't. And like, I thought April and Nick had something that was pretty special to them, but you don't see me fucking crying about it, Like, she's got his watch and they're doing all kinds of shit together. And I'm like, I don't fucking care. Like, that probably says a lot about where the relationship's at that point, where you're like, I don't fucking give a shit. Leave us alone. But like, it became a fight that she forgave me over the doggy book. Like, they kept having fights about the fucking doggy book. So that was my drama. Like, every 4 or 5 days, it seems like somebody was in crisis mode. And it was always Nick and Kayla are fighting. April's mad that Nick did something. April's mad that Kayla did something with Nick. Or, I told April to stop doing so much cocaine. And then we started yelling at each other and blah, blah, blah. So every few days there would be this drama, and I just kind of got used to it, that this big explosion would happen. So now I watch people kind of following this thing, and they're going, God, Jesus, it seems like every few days there's some kind of, crazy Nick stepped on his fucking dick and screwed things up and looks like shit, and now there's this big drama over there and all this. And I'm like, guys, this is normal. Like, this is just how I got
making it to the internet now.
Right. This is just how I got used to living the time.
I mean, I was making a joke because they weren't married in the first place. Thank you for
I thought you meant Kayla and Nick. You got to remember, Johnny, we're talking
I literally said April and Nick are getting divorced.
Oh, I thought you said, I don't think she'd rap. I don't think she would. I think the easiest thing for Kayla is for her to sing to save her ass and get her kids back.
She's a good girl. She kept her mouth shut.
Yeah, right.
Good girl.
Nick's just putting up.
It's got to be. Well, if you're saying it's involving the kids, it's got to be the nanny. Because how the fuck would Camelot know?
Like, it's not because she left because, quote, she said this to Kayla. Kayla said this to me. She goes, you weren't the only one who couldn't take it anymore. That's what Kayla said to me. She talked to the nanny after the nanny had quit, and this was after I had left. And Kayla texted me and said, I guess both of you say you couldn't take it anymore. I gotta remember, I would come over like either after the morning show sometimes if we didn't have an evening show, or I'd come over and hang out with Kayla after the evening show. When Nick was going to do his stream and April was going down there, Kayla and I would hang out in the bedroom. But like, if I would go there during the day, the nanny would be there. She just kind of had a look of discomfort. And then obviously I go back to the bedroom to see what Kayla's up to and go hang out with her. That's got to look fucking weird to drop off the kids. And then she sees, and then I'm going back. Kayla and I are hanging out in the room. That's got to look fucking weird to her. And then the house is just turning into this massive dump.
It's out 5 seconds after me.
Yeah. No. She was out long before I was out.
Oh.
But Kayla talked to her. I think she was out at the end of February. And I was out April 12th or whatever, 12th or 13th. And but Kayla didn't meet with her to talk to her until after I had left. And Kayla said, I guess you're not the only one who couldn't take it anymore. And so Kayla apparently had a conversation with her. And then, so I'm thinking maybe the nanny is the source, but the nanny's just kind of a normal small town Minnesota gal. And I don't know if she would go to Keno Casino and give them info. So I don't know who it is, but it's someone who wants to make sure they stay anonymous. I don't know what the allegation could be, because again, you're now running into the problem I have is that apparently they all went apeshit after I left, and things got even crazier because a lot of the things they're talking about even go like beyond the bad shit I've told you about. Like the credit cards on the nightstand full of coke. It's like they never brought that shit out of the bathroom except like in bullet form. Nick would have it in his pocket, or Kayla had a little tray of it, like a little, like, you know, when you flip open one of those cigarette things, those old school cigarette deals. You know, she'd have one of those with coke in it. She'd put it in her purse, whatever. They wouldn't take it out. Like in the house, though, they wouldn't take it out of that bathroom. So like to find out that it was on the nightstand and shit like that, that was news to me. The 9-year-old testing positive for coke, news to me. Not any of them take ketamine, but now I guess anything's possible, right? Because you got to remember, I spent all this time with Kayla, and after a while, I didn't give a shit to be around the other two. And so I don't know what they could have been doing. Fucking dried out hair. Then Kate Meany's next up, I think. What are Nick and Kayla going to do? Be around each other? They can't stand each other. With Nick's watch on at his house. And by the way, what a fucking cucking of Kayla that is.
Well,
I mean,
if you're Kayla, again, I'm not feeling too bad for you.
No, not at
You're
all.
Watching it happen.
And clearly her voice. I mean, obviously, I know that voice, but it's clearly her. Because it can only be her and Kayla. That's not what Kayla sounds like. But did it bother you today, or did I bother you today?
Like if she weren't there, we'd find a new April, so to speak.
Sure. Well, yeah, there's been Aprils before her. I mean, Nick and Kayla went to hedonism, and they did the swinging thing, I think twice. They went to a swingers. He's chosen his case over his children. This is wild. And again, for Kayla to put up with this, I mean, this is, nobody should feel sorry for her at this point. I mean, this, you're not going to ask anybody if there's only two of you in the house. So he's telling April to go ask Kayla something. Oh, man. Streaming down in that studio, they went back upstairs during breaks to do coke. They would come up where Kayla and I were, and they would interrupt us, and they would go in the bathroom and do coke. And then in Nick's bathroom, there would be bloody tissues in there. I remember pointing to the trash can once when Kayla and I were in there. I go, she's still blowing blood out of her nose. I go, this is fucking infuriating. Like, I complained to Kayla a lot about April's use. And what I didn't realize from her, she would just gossip about it. Like, Aaron's worried about your use. And I'm like, Kayla, if I wanted to talk to her about it, I'd talk to her about it. I'm tired of talking to her about it. She just snaps and gets angry and fucking yells. You can blame me. You can call it whatever you want. But someday you're going to have to look in the mirror and you're going to have to get to know the person. Same with Nick. Same with Kayla. At some point, you guys are going to have to look in the mirror and get to know the person looking back at you. And I didn't think about it that way. But I did. So I did think about it that way. And they would both like, and sweet Kayla, she would be like, well, maybe God would understand because, you know, we love each other and we're trying to do something, you know, that enhances love. And I'm like, oh, sweetheart, I want it. You're so sweet. And I do want to believe
She was just happy to feel emotion again.
I don't know. I'm like, no. And she did, like, just before they got arrested, like the Monday before they got arrested, she did send me a text saying, everyone here is low. This has destroyed everyone. It's been a fucking disaster. She said, you were right. This has destroyed us all. And she said, I guess society is right sometimes, was the text she sent me. This has updated rules and this has updated findings about what's going on with the custody situation. As you may know, Nick and Kayla's 5 children are not with them because Nick, Kayla, and April were doing cocaine and doing and they had a fucking messy house and nobody ever fucking cleaned it and it was disgusting. And it was unsuitable for children. And then, you know, they took drugs out of the house and all this other shit. Kayla told the cops that she was the live-in nanny. Nick said, no, she's a friend. She's just visiting. I mean, usually when my friends are visiting, they don't leave their debit cards on the nightstand with cocaine on them. But, you know, Johnny, everyone has house guests differently.
Right. You know, like if I'm someone's house guest, I'm not going to make them use their credit card to chop the coke. I'll use mine. It's the least I can.
Right. You know what? It's a nice way to be, what do you call that? Hospitable.
Yeah.
You
Be
know?
respectful of your hosts.
Being a nice house guest. So Nick announces he's going to stream last night, so MN Public Records goes, all right, deal with this. So now we're getting to the list of things that the state is saying you guys need to do in order to get
for the kids to come back.
In order, before we start talking about your children coming back, this is what we've got to do. Their humiliating list of preconditions to return of custody includes unscheduled site visits, getting full access to every room in both homes. So that's new. We haven't heard that before. So now you can't pull the my booze and drugs and everything. Well, first of all, why would you, if people's theories are correct and they are keeping it in the house that April is quote unquote staying in, then why would you put April in that position?
I don't know.
That's a really shitty spot to put her in. But then again, if she's going to live rent free, Buffalo Jockey with $2 says if she lets drugs turn her into a swap create, she'll never to dye her hair between like Kayla so you can fuck her. I don't know what that meant. On socialist media says April is the cult leader or at least co-leader. Well, I mean, there is that story that Kayla told me that Kayla convinced Nick that once they ran out of drugs back in May, that April or May, I think it was May, that they would be done. They wouldn't get any more. They were going to stop. And that April threw a fucking conniption fit and made Nick go with her to get more. And that was the one they got arrested with. So keep up the bad work.
So dude, like, I don't know the dynamics in that household, but if I'm Kayla, then I'm just fucking, I told her so, I fucking told her so.
She backs down real fast. She'll throw a fit. She'll fight. She'll scream. She'll yell. She'll, do whatever. But then it all just kind of goes back to the way it was. He convinces her that she's the crazy one. And then back we go. Oh, boy. But yes, the big news today is I got the email this weekend. The divorce is officially final. We did not talk about that yesterday. I didn't mention it. Apparently, it got signed back in early July by a judge. It's over. It's done. So I can now answer any question. I can now talk about absolutely everything. There were a few things I was kind of holding off on because, look, it's just smart when you're doing these things, even when you got both signatures on a paper. One time I had edibles at my own house. And, I was with Kayla that day. And I had some edibles, and I was feeling like a weird kind of hangover kind of feeling the next morning. That's about the worst I ever.
It's an interesting tack, Cotton. Let's see if it plays out for him.
Honky says chaos, Kayla, and K-Ild April's life prospects. Oh, no. Remember, guys, that's all my fault. Arrested for cocaine possession that, by the way, you were in the house of and you were in possession of it. Fucking Kayla even told the cops, that's our live-in nanny. Like, come on. I was there. You were there for months.
I think we could just go with Rosebud then.
Oh, thank you.
Mr. Rosebud.
BJ with $5 says Aaron called his cover mate Kayla Cummerla.
Oh.
It would fit. Two, not being subtle. Like, we got yelled at in a hot tub at a hotel that we stared at each other too long. And, like, Kayla got lectured on it. Fucking retarded. Ellen. Because you can't plead guilty. If you plead guilty, that fucks over Nick and Kayla, and Nick is planning to fight this thing till the bitter end. So he'll do his cult leader magic, his cult leader voodoo, like when he talks about the fucking Bible. Oh, my God, don't ever do that. I mean, please do it again, but don't ever do that again. I mean, do it, but don't. He'll work his cult leader magic and convince the girls who are, and he keeps them all, in my opinion, or at least, when I was there, kept him into drugs. He'll talk some shit because they're not very smart, and he'll talk some shit and convince them that going his way is the way to go, and they're fighting some noble fight against the government. I mean, how they convince each other that they didn't do drugs is amazing to me. One thing I found out about addicts that I did not know and I was completely unprepared for was them looking right into your face after you watched them do drugs and have them tell you that they don't do drugs. I swear to God, I've never seen anything like it. Like, I've always listened to people talk about being around addicts before, and I was like, that can't be like that. And it's so much worse. But like, he'll convince her that she can't plead guilty. She has to fight for her rights. And this is you being strong. Look at the wolf on your arm. You're being like the wolf. You're like the wolf. Let me hear you howl. Arr! There you go. You're a wolf. Now let's go be wolves together. Because if she pleads guilty, those two are fucked. Because that's her saying, yeah, we've been having coke, doing coke. I got to plead guilty to save my own ass. It'll be interesting to see where that goes. Running around, gallivanting all over Wilmer the day of Charlotte's fucking birthday party, and Kayla had to come help me get everybody ready and charged with 5th degree felony drug possession. Now, you might be asking, why 5th degree? Why not 2nd degree like Nick and Kayla got? Well, Nick and Kayla live in the house where almost 27 grams of cocaine and ketamine and everything else were found. They can't, it's not April's legal residence, although Kayla did tell Alicia Sweep she's our live-in nanny. Cards. So we also found out that the cops did not find April and Kayla like in the hallway or in the kitchen or anything like that. They were in the master bedroom. So it could be that Kayla and April knew the cops were at the door and they might have been trying to ditch some product. Let the little kid come to the door rather than Nick give them the code or April or Kayla come out and answer the door. They let the little girl
wait to hear the tie-in.
Yeah, this will somehow, it can't be her fault. It can't be Nick's fault. It can't be Kayla's fault. Coltrane says, what the fuck did you find nice about Kayla? She's a Central Minnesota 4.5. She was the only one who said she wanted to cut back and not do so many drugs. She was remarkably unhappy in her marriage. I was remarkably unhappy in my marriage. We would talk a lot. She thought, her famous "you're a good man" speech. And I was like, oh, thank God somebody fucking likes me.
Oh, Jesus, you fell for that.
We were
Never
both...
believe them when they tell you you're a good man. Because one, let's be honest, you're not.
Yeah.
But two, if they're going to tell you that, like, then... I don't know. I'd prefer every lady think I'm a huge piece of shit because then it's going to probably be closer to the mark.
Here's what it was. What it was, to answer your question, Coltrane, I saw someone, and I know now that this is a disaster and you shouldn't do it. I saw someone I could help. I saw someone who I thought had a good heart, a kind soul, and I could help her.
Dear God, I can save this hoe. Well, I can't save them all.
I did,
but I can save this hoe.
No, it was a giant mistake. I get it. But so rudely interrupted by such a wonderful idea. Yeah, she came across really earnest, really genuine. And I thought there was a really good person in there. And she was being tormented by her husband. I mean, the way he would fight with her was just so unfair. I mean, just getting her all worked up and then making it all her fault. Like, I saw a lot of the way Nick treated Kayla and then talked about how all these things were Kayla's fault and convinced her that they were her fault. I saw a lot of the way he treated her in the way April treated me. And Kayla and I kind of trauma bonded over that. We were like,
yeah, that's a good way.
She was like,
that's a good way to meet somebody.
She was like, yeah, you and I are just very much alike in our relationships. And those two are very much alike in how they treat their partners and blah, blah. Like, we would just have these conversations. And so that's really what it was. It was really just kind of two unhappy people finding each other. So I don't think there necessarily would have been like we loved each other or anything like that. I think we both were in shitty situations. We were lamenting and we leaned on each other. That was it.
You were Jack and Rose and there was only one door and you ended up being Rose, I guess.
No, I was Jack.
No. You ended up being Rose. There was a door and you climbed on it. And then when help came, you looked at the frozen corpse of your love and you said, I'm sorry, Jack.
Sure. And then on Charlotte's fucking birthday, her and Nick are at a fucking Chinese restaurant in Wilmer while Kayla comes down here and helps me get the kids ready for the birthday party. Guys, if we would have called you on your bullshit, would you have been there? Then April goes to me and tries to blame Kayla and said, Kayla told Nick that if you, meaning me, ever wanted to have a kid, that, she started talking about like, well, April and I would be the ones who could have it. And so Nick got really mad at her, and that's why he didn't want to be here. And I'm like, you fucking, first of all, you're ratting all these people out and talking about all the shit they say. And who knows if you're fucking lying about that? I'm sure Kayla didn't do that. But maybe she did. I don't fucking know. But like, to say that like I gave a shit about those kids, you fucking didn't, and they're my kids, and don't you dare fucking lie about that shit. That bothers me. And then seeing Nick yesterday on his stream going, oh, I've never gone outside my marriage. You guys are fucking liars. And it wouldn't bother me that much. But there are two people, Keanu and Gino, in my life who are being lied to and manipulated by these fucking liars, and it caused them to put a knife in my fucking back when I've done nothing but tell them the truth. And now they're just being fucking lied to. They look like fools. And it breaks my heart to see people that I did like be acting like fools and being lied to. And then watching the people that I used to hang out with just get more and more disgusting. The next day, so that was the week I like, because I think that night was the night that Kayla and Nick started fighting regarding me. And then Kayla's like, he's really fucking mad. I don't know if you should be here. I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna dip out. Don't be a fucking pussy. Stay here. I'm like, I'm gonna go. So Kayla and I thought, I'm gonna go. Maybe that'll diffuse things a little bit. Because Nick was mad at Kayla that Kayla forgave me for the proverbs thing. Kayla forgave me for that. Nick was mad because he didn't think Kayla would forgive him for not reading the proverbs or some fucking stupid. Everything that Nick and Aaron have said suggests that while Kayla's family worked to get Kayla and the kids out of the drug den, Nick's parents have been enablers of him and his degeneracy. I don't know if that was never that brazen. It never left the bathroom unless it was like taken to a hotel. But like, in defense of Kayla and Nick's parents, when they came over, I never saw them come further than the entryway. At all time, but if they're carrying vials and bullets on them, I mean, there was, I don't know if it was always in Kayla's purse, but Kayla had a tray that was always full. And I know that when we went places, it would be in her purse. And said I was a piece of shit and I was awful for saying that. And nobody who actually loved her would ask her to stop. Kayla was responsive. She just hugged me and said, I know. And she's crying and she feels terrible about it. I think it still might have happened anyway. Because, like, Kayla and Nick couldn't fucking stand each other. April and I couldn't fucking stand each other. Actually, you know what? That's bullshit, and I think she'd cause a problem. I know she can kind of pull him around, and she kind of has him whipped a little bit. So maybe, if Kayla's to be believed, April talked him into going to reload the Coke safe when they ran out. Kayla wanted to be done, and she said that he wanted to be done. And that's awesome. That she went and saw like her new baby and all that stuff, but then we started hanging out with Nick and Kayla, and all that stopped. All that stopped for her. So no, yeah, she really didn't have any friends when we got together. I don't like it when you. And then her parents come out for our wedding in Vegas.
Right.
And then she tells Kayla when we start after I left, she tells Kayla, she's like, and he didn't even want my parents to come to our wedding. And I'm like Kayla told me that. She goes, April said you didn't want her parents to come to Las Vegas. I'm like, what the fuck?
Like Nick there just kind of assumed he could just keep strumming you along.
Well, and then like it's not like Kayla and I didn't do the same thing. Like Kayla would ask me about lawyers, and Kayla would talk about what she was afraid of if she left Nick and divorced him and shit like that. Like, about, well, you know what? Nick would lie about talking shit. April wouldn't. Like, April said a lot of shit about Kayla to me, and eventually she would say it to Nick, and then eventually, like, she had a lot of bad shit to say about Kayla. Kayla's ruined him, and Kayla's taken away a lot of great things from him, and I would never treat him that way, and she took that show away from him.
He had to reassure them, though. They're like, hey, what's with this lady? Oh, don't worry. Kayla's my bottom bitch. So,
yeah.
We're good.
She's like a lieutenant, It's fun. But if you don't, it's over. Like, it's done. And I remember Kayla telling me one time after I'd left, she goes, oh no, April says this is the last relationship she'll ever be in. And I said, oh, Kayla, sweetie, you don't understand how April works. She said the same thing to me when we got together. And she said the same thing about her boyfriend before that. Kayla,
Yeah.
it's all part of the game, sweetheart. So
Everyone's the last relationship.
Rekieta family parents, like the kids' grandparents. Kayla's stepdad's my favorite dude. He's great. I like that guy. Dan's awesome. Dan's a stand-up, no-nonsense guy. Then I would go Kayla's mom, then Nick's dad, Nick's mom. But she can't show support to her stepkids. Yeah, she didn't even come home the day of Charlotte's birthday party to help get ready. Kayla and I did that. April said, oh, I was out getting Easter baskets for the kids. Chinese restaurant, crying my eyes out with Nick. It's like, yeah, because you guys are drug addicts and you can't control your emotions. Because Kayla and I were like, where the
Chinese restaurant?
Well, because Kayla and I were like, where the fuck are you? Like, your fucking daughter, we're getting ready for her 10th birthday party. Be home by 11:30, if you could, because I need some help getting stuff ready and all that. Kayla ended up coming with her 5 kids, and we ended up getting everybody ready and going. All those 2 retards had to do. So on to highlight number 2 from these document links from MN Public Records. Although the maternal grandparents, Kayla's parents, are generally understood to have been the only caregivers, it turns out the 2 youngest children were then of another family member and uncles giving respite for unspecified intervals. So I'm guessing one of Kayla's brothers was watching the kids from time to time. How do I put this? When it comes to Kayla, and maybe I'm too easy on Kayla, but Kayla can be a very sweet, loving soul. The thing with Kayla is this. When it comes to drugs and it comes to neglecting children and when it comes to getting better and turning your life around, there's a difference between wanting to and being able to. Kayla has, I can tell you this from experience, 100% fact. Kayla wants to turn it around. Kayla wants to stop all of it. Kayla feels guilt. Kayla is one of the guiltiest people I've ever met. Kayla feels terrible. Kayla does not think this stuff should be happening. The drugs, at least, and all of that. Kayla wants to do better. Kayla is not capable of doing better. I offered resources. I offered help. I offered anything I could. Kayla would always talk about wanting to do better, but when it was time to take any actual concrete steps, she would not. She's go along to get along. When she will sit there and she will stand right in front of everyone. Her little 5'2", adorable little Kayla. She'll stand there in front of everybody. She goes, "This is wrong. This is bad," and they'll yell back at her. And King Kong Dong says Kayla is a Minnesota 4 on a scale of 100. I disagree. I think Kayla's a beautiful woman. I genuinely do. There's a lot of good in Kayla. There's just, again, as I said before, Johnny, there's wanting to and being able to. And where Kayla fails constantly is the being able to part, But at least, unlike Nick and April, she doesn't.
Sobriety is deciding that you need to be sober. Like, you have to choose to want to do that.
Kayla wants to do better and can't. The rest of them, because the documents get hard to read. Number 3. For once, there was a brief glimpse of conscience and contrition in Kayla, MN Public Records writes. Any kind of guilt in this
or
whole
wrongdoing.
Thing, or wrongdoing. And God bless Kayla Rekieta for doing that. God bless her for at least in that moment.
I'm surprised he's not more concerned.
This is where the Kayla that we've seen in the criminal proceedings, where she's been quiet, she's let Nick take the lead. Kayla had a maternal instinct for a moment, and she went with it. She sacrificed herself for a moment, and I'm so proud of her. Get some support. But these are the consequences of our actions. Kayla, in one simple sentence, you said something beautiful. You nailed it. Perfect. But
Yeah,
this
and
is
if you said that to the judge, that might actually help.
right. But this is where I get to, Johnny. Want to versus able to. Kayla wants to take responsibility. Kayla wants to cleanse her soul of what she's done wrong. You know, victimhood is her narcissism, whereas Nick's is, delusions of grandeur are his narcissism. You take those two and put them with Kayla, and they both kind of confront her. Want versus ability. That's the tragic catch-22 of this whole situation. So Kayla hugs the kid and says, these are the consequences of our actions. I wish somebody else would say the same. Intimidating, and he goes for that.
He's got Chewini anger.
Yeah, I think he's intimidated Kayla for years. I think he's probably been able to intimidate April, but he can't intimidate. So
I think you're going to be fine.
I don't think so, buddy. I don't think so. So they were in a hurry to post bond because at that Chips hearing, in my opinion, I could be wrong, at that Chips hearing, they were going to release Nick and Kayla's hair follicle drug test.
We wouldn't be here, sir.
Yeah, that's a great point. If you were the smartest guy in the room, you wouldn't be here. You know who the smartest person in the room was that day? Kayla. Because at least Kayla went to the oldest and said, these are the consequences of our actions. Kayla was smarter than you on this day. I know what that house looks like. I think the last time I was there was a couple weeks after I was done because Kayla had me come over for a second, and then we went out. I picked her up at the house. That was the funniest, man. When because Kayla wanted to still, have a connection after I left. And I go there, and I'm waiting for Kayla. And Nick comes home, and Nick walks by me, and he goes, "Hey," and I go, It was just, I hate you. Go fuck yourself. I hate you too. Go fuck yourself. Now,
while I wait for your wife.
Yes, I'm gonna lift your wife up and press her against your truck and make out with her aggressively for a while. Excuse me, I have shit to attend to, sir. That was weird. That was we were making out behind their big van, and Nick came out to throw the garbage out and saw us, and I'm like, oh God, this is so fucking weird. It was strange.
Jesus Christ.
As long as she was happy. So
oh yeah, because you got nothing out of it.
Number 7, leaving aside the parents' May 30th follicle test, with the result that they've aggressively tried to bury ever since. Sure enough, their first urine results were handed to the state at the last minute in the hallway before the hearing. So, remember, cocaine stays in urine for what, 24 to 48 hours?
I don't know.
Stay in urine. 1 to 2 days, so about 24 hours. Cocaine stays in your urine. So all you got to do is not do coke for 24 hours, and you can piss clean, right?
Yep.
And if you're trying to get your kids back, you're stopping everything, right? Like you're done with every intoxicant, every bad thing. Oddly, because at least Nick's parents still did, quote, these are Nick's parents, unlike Kayla's. Remember, Kayla's family helped get them arrested.
Right.
Kayla's family was like, this is fucked up. These guys are not okay. Somebody needs to
stop.
I know Dan. Dan's a no-nonsense kind of dude. Like I said, Dan's my favorite. Kayla's stepdad is a fucking good dude. And he would not put up with that kind of shit. Kings, saw him at church that one time. I'd talk Vikings with Dan and shit like that. We'd sit and talk forever. I love that guy. He's great.
Right.
But he at least, he and Kayla's mom and sister and everyone else were like, this is fucked up. But number 9. Another testament to Nick's Herculean work ethic can be found in the fact that he, Kayla, and the live-in nanny must not have been enough to clean the and it was April and I trying to get Nick to do laundry. Kayla was running the kids around somewhere. And we got a few loads of laundry in. And that's as far as it went. No laundry ever after that. I mean, we didn't put a dent in the fucking thing. But I remember being down there with Kayla and April. Nick wouldn't come down. And I was teaching them how to clean their fucking basement. I go, Kayla, break this room down into grids. Because she's like, look, it's such a big mess. There's so much shit. And I told her, I said, break the room into grids. Break it back.
That'll look good.
Mommy and Daddy had to come clean the house. And Kayla finally acknowledged that they'd done something wrong. Those are my 3 big takeaways so far.
Oh, I'm glad to be hanging out with you guys. Me and April really love being here with you and Kayla. Oh, bless Kayla and her tits.
God bless. Aaron, who was that girl that you were in that polycule, the one with the great big tits you could bury your face in? That was Kayla. God's bless Kayla and her tits. Actually, Nick and April would come up to take a break from the show, and once in a while, Kayla would have to yell out, "We need 10 more minutes." So, let me die. Oh, I'm sitting there talking about Kayla. I want, now that I'm out of the polycule, I want.
Yeah.
And she fucking, she despises Kayla. She's like, she's a giant fucking problem. And that woman is, just all kinds of, and does not like it when I say anything nice about her at all. But I will say, Kayla does have the want to get better. Kayla just doesn't have the ability to get better. And I will say this, I was at least encouraged when I saw in that document she got browbeaten out of that, and I know that was probably a massive fight. So
I think I know why SP doesn't like Kayla. I don't think it's necessarily just to do with the whole situation.
And why is that?
This small, big-titted woman, and now she's like, well, I don't like, and she knows that Kayla has an attachment and feelings for you. And she probably just she doesn't like sniffing around her piece, if you know what I mean.
Patricia with $5 says, if Kayla knocked on the door today saying help, would you? An internet anniversary, thank God. No, it's the anniversary of the show. Sam Show says, Kayla's been like this since high school. She just says a lot of horse shit. Oh, did you go to high school with Kayla? Sam Show says, everyone else is emotional because they're coke-addled, but not Kayla. No, not Kayla. He's right. He's right. She should get help from her family, send her to her own damn family, leave her at the meeting. King Kong Dong, dude, Kayla's just a trickster. Don't believe a single word she says. Slam Piece is right. Because she would be, Death Beholden says she wouldn't be genuine if she came to you for help. Sam Joe says, you keep defending Kayla, SP will be gone before you know it, dumbass. I'm not defending. Somebody asked me a spin.
That's the October 6th, 26th.
Yeah. We're going to go October 26th, 1 year after we met Nick and Kayla. We're going to do a show. So, don't hold your breath, for Christ's sake. You'll turn purple. Chucky B with $4.99 says, why hasn't Kayla filed for divorce? I don't know.
You have to want to do it.
You have to want to. Nick is chaos. He don't need no blow, says Landers. Nick knows April's no improvement on Kayla. I bet Nick sold her the we got to stay together for the kids shtick. Oh, well, I'm sure they're trauma bonding at this point, doing drugs and all this other shit. So she's not going to throw anyone under the bus. Kayla's probably thought about it, but she doesn't have the fucking cojones to see it through. And Nick's going down with the ship. Kayla is just
the ship.
Kayla is just Jenny. You're lucky you're snipped. Well, I've always considered myself lucky to be snipped. That's for sure. Because like you said, you found out what would have happened.
Yeah.
In real time. Oh boy. And then, I read that part about Kayla saying that, going to her son and saying, this is the consequence of our actions. And I go, I know, a lot of people go, oh, whatever, fucking Kayla this, Kayla that. I'm like, no. That's the Kayla I've been telling you guys about. That's the one that I knew. That's her. There she is. And then nothing comes of that. And I go, that's also the Kayla I knew.
Yeah.
Is that this is the consequence of your actions. And you want to look at her and go, yes, keep going. Keep going. Bare your soul, like walk in and envy. Open your heart. Open your heart. And then right into the courtroom. Nope. Cocaine. What do you mean cocaine? Never seen cocaine in my life. Wouldn't know what it looked like. Found it in our house. Oh, the hell you say. And it's like, no, go back to being the person who, the consequence of your actions. That's who I remember. But alas, here we are. Trucker 18-wheeler opens things up with $2 today. Bone Cold says, only way that case gets resolved this year is if the 3 retards take a plea deal, but knowing 2 of them will say no. Well, April can't because she loves Nick, and if she pleads guilty, then he's guilty. So if he still plans on fighting, he will demand that April plead not guilty. He doesn't care about, neither of those 2 care about each other more than they care about themselves. And they will tell the other one, do what I need you to do so that I can be okay. That'll essentially be it. So, no, this thing ain't going to be done this year. There's no fucking way this thing is done this year. It's going to be done maybe by the spring of next year. Maybe. And the CPS stuff, depending on how they want to do it, they could be involved for about another year.
At least
another year. Random searches, random drug tests.
Yeah, if they don't get clean, it's going to stretch out longer.
Right.
It'll never fucking stop.
And the thing about those piss tests,
I think she says the term sex pest. Now it's...
The first time I ever heard her use sex pest was she was describing Kayla. Like
I thought she was going to say when she's describing you.
No, somebody too says, was that not at all weird fucking in another man's bed while he was there? We stayed on Kayla's side. Sometimes. Sometimes we stayed on Kayla's side. Sometimes, the adventure takes you places you didn't know.
Guys, and then we left the wet spot for Nick, and it was all right. Oh, dude, you did. Oh, he did. He did. That is an admission of.
No, I don't want to do this. This is tawdry. I don't want to do this. This is cheap. This is cheap heat, as the kids say. But yeah, towards the end, he was getting mad, and he did message me that he was mad that we got to be in their bed all the time. So that did bother him for a while. And I did feel bad about, because that never happened. Like when we were here, Kayla and I would be upstairs in the, I think Princess Kayla just always got the bedroom no matter what, I think was the deal. But yeah, that bugged him. And I get it. Somebody says, did you ever have thought during it, like, what the fuck am I doing? Or was that at the very end? I've said before, because of April and the drugs and everything else, like, I didn't know Kayla without the drugs, but I knew April without the drugs, so I got to see the person change. I never saw Kayla change, so, like, I gravitated towards her. Like I said, I was like, I was more wanting to be around Kayla. So no, there wasn't the what the fuck am I. There were parts where I was like, what the fuck am I doing? But it wasn't when I was like with her. Put it that way.
He was busy.
And there were people, like all 4 of them thought that, like, it would be a daily basis where I would hear one of them go, maybe we should just end this whole fucking thing. Maybe it should just be done. And every time someone would yell that, I didn't realize that was drugs. That they were like fucked up on coke and they were all just taking everything way too seriously. So like every time someone would say, we should just be fucking done, I'd always go, I mean, we can be if you want to. Like, that's fine. We can wrap this up.
We can end that up.
So, Aaron, how massive is Kayla's Lego collection? She had a lot of Legos. Cool ones too. Like really fucking cool Legos. I'm not answering that question, King Kong Tong. Brian Landon with $4.99. Says, okay, guys, we're asking fucking tawdry questions that I believe I've addressed before. A king bed isn't that big, bro. All right, we're getting, how I said on the evening show yesterday, when I go too far back behind the curtain again, it fucks me up the rest of the day. We're approaching that territory. Sorry.
Okay.
You guys are asking questions where it's starting to go back to
the second coming of the curtain.
Oh, boy. All right. Well, you guys, by the way, are at 210. I say you outbench him. Who wins? How much you guys putting up? When we were at the gym, Kayla would always come to watch sparring. She liked it. She enjoyed it.
Nick ever spar?
Does Nick Rekieta have an athletic bone in his body? Skinny Ugandan famine-looking boy. No, he's not an athletic guy. He was kind of a dorky dude. When him and Kayla first got together, he pretended to be her gay friend so he could get closer to her. I mean, that's kind of the guy he is. I think out of insecurity, masculinity-wise. Coltrane says, Aaron used the gay friend card to get to Kayla, but it wasn't fake. Right. family money in a trust and whatnot. Wild Saffron says there's a video from Nick's stream where he said he pretended to be gay to get with Kayla. Yeah, that's a pretty well-known story.
That's
super tip thing. I'm down. I love those AI voices. I want one. We got to have a Nick, April, and Kayla one. We got to have a Keanu and Gino one. John, everybody's a piece of shit. They said they stopped responding to April again, and Nick's a cult leader again, and Kayla sucks, and I suck. And that's the way to go, though. Like, that's what I would tell them to do. Like, we all suck. Everybody's a piece of shit. This is not a secret because it's on the show.
Uh-huh.
Kayla's stepdad sent me a Facebook message today.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know what that means. He said
you can't
throw
know yourself back in.
Here's the thing. I don't know if I want to talk. I love him. I really do. I think Kayla's stepdad is one of the sweetest human beings in the world. I love him. I love the man. I love the man.
We get it.
But phone call or a text?
A blading in the back.
Citizen M says Gino and Keanu are coke addicts, just like Kayla cut her wrists. We all know. We know everything. Gino and Keanu are not coke addicts, as far as I know. And not only that, the one person I spoke to after they got arrested was Kayla's mother. Like, I talked to Kayla's mom to make sure the kids were okay and they were okay and, whatever.
A guy like you? You are the same asshole.
I did. I voted for Obama once. I did. Citizen M says, Aaron, you have to get Kayla out. I'm telling you, man. I'm not saying that she's in. Maybe he wants to beat the shit out of you, says Mr. Nobody. It's possible. Know what we're looking for. Did Jersh come up with something? Did old Nell get some? Oh. State of Minnesota versus Kayla Christine Rekieta. Okay. Of the office by mailing a copy thereof enclosed in an envelope, postage prepaid, and by depositing in the same post office for Kayla Christine Rekieta. So Kayla got offered a plea deal. Well, Nick got offered the same thing then. Offering Nick the same offer. Is Nick's shit talking costing him? Like, they're offering Kayla a plea deal to flip on Nick?
But did that say she sent the plea offer in?
No, the state of Minnesota sent it to her. But it's interesting. It's interesting that Kayla got an offer and not Nick. It looks like they're looking to take Nick down. Named Alicia Sweep of lying under oath, specifically to deprive him of his parental rights. So they're not going to offer him shit, it sounds like. They're going to offer Kayla a better deal because they're like, I want to get this motherfucker.
Yeah.
This guy's, this is kind of what
He's pissed a lot of people off through this.
This is, wow. That's interesting. I don't have the rest of this Kayla thing, though. If somebody has, oh, wow. Listing from leaked ICR supplement, Keno Casino. Defendants, Nick, Kayla, April. Officers, blah, blah, blah. April, paying snow. Okay.
We knew that.
Is that why Dan wanted to get in touch with me? Because Kayla was offered a deal?
Thinking you're starting to put some pieces together, bud.
Does Dan want me to, like, work on her behalf?
And
say that it was Nick? Does she might want to call me a motherfucker? But he would have done that already.
Probably. Oh, shit.
Kayla Rekieta has been offered a plea deal. So they want her to flip on Nick. Because if Nick hasn't been offered the same thing, don't have more pages from this?
Well, maybe the plea deal is confidential.
It turns out the affidavit of service in the case docket for Kayla's case associated with the recent discovery disclosure mentions that Kayla has been offered a plea deal, which was mailed simultaneously to the discovery disclosure.
Like within the last few days. Okay.
Last 2 days.
Yeah.
So they did not offer Nick the same plea deal. They want Kayla to flip on Nick.
Good.
That might be why Dan got in touch with me. And lunch. Not knowing how to process all this. What are the odds that what Dan wants to talk to me about has to do with what Kayla got offered?
I'd say really fucking good.
Hours.
Oh, that kind of marathon.
That could be
I'm not.
fun.
No, I'm not participating in no marathon show tonight.
Day One Salt says they will roll Nick and take the home. Let Kayla leave with all the kids and nowhere to go. Nah, I don't think they'll do that. Documents we're seeing that they're like, Nick said this about us. Nick said this about Alicia Sweep. So they're like, we're going to offer. They're going to offer Kayla a deal and they're going to offer April a deal. They're not going to offer him a deal because he's been a cunt.
Back.
Yeah. They should throw the book at her.
Maybe they said fuck her and her plea deal because
maybe they think Kayla's the only one.
Yeah. And also and it might have nothing to do with April. It could just be because you got Nick and Kayla and the kids. They want one of them to be there for the kids. They know it ain't going to be Nick.
True. He doesn't care.
So if you can give Kayla a deal and she can get the fuck out. Why were you doing that? They had a trust fund.
Because they're lazy fucking coke addicts. And now Kayla's stepdad wants me to call him.
Okay, we're not going back to
talk
that.
about this.
We're going
plea
back
deal.
to me yelling about stupid shit. And
she never did that big expose on Will Heron. Red Fox Mad with $4.99. Aaron, if you want to get back on the radio, stay away from Kayla, Nick, and April. They are all criminals and bad people. Don't lose everything for pussy.
I will say.
But on the evening show last night, we informed the audience that I indeed, Kayla was offered a plea deal, and then I got a message last night from Kayla's stepdad on Facebook, and he said, "Can you call me?"
That is true.
Yeah. Let's go to a couple super chats here. $5 from Daniel. He says, "Was Slam Piece mad you were thinking about Kayla all night, or did she already bail on you?" Thinking about Kayla all night. I mean, there was that while we were doing the evening show, people were like, "Oh, she got offered a plea deal." Large group of people who've all agreed on some shit because it works best for them. I remember Kayla sent me a text message once after I had left the whole. Kayla sent me a text message once after I had left the whole, swapping thing. And she goes, "Everyone here is low. Everyone is in a shitty spot. Everyone feels like garbage. This all failed. You were right. It's destroying everyone." She's like, "I guess society is right about some things." And when I got that text from her, I thought to myself, I'm like, you know what? Actually, if I think about it, society's kind of right about most shit. And I think that's the moment people grow up is they realize their parents were probably right. Like that's when you realize you've become a full adult. Is you're like, okay, I'm done with my rebellious horse shit. I'm done thinking I know better. I'm done thinking like, oh, I'm this revolutionary thinker. No, you're a bag of shit just like everybody else. You're not smarter. You're not better. And a lot of this shit that came before you is in place because you can't handle anything more than this.
So bad up in here. And you may not like it, but you're not going to get my answer till you give me yours. And that's who had better kitties, April or Kayla. Now, don't lie. Don't lie to OJ.
The latter, OJ. Dr. Rondo says, well, one is sorry. That's true. Kayla did tell one of the kids, what was it, that this is the consequence of our going to be busy tonight. Trucker 18-wheeler becoming a member for his 11th month, saying, how the F did you find Kayla attractive? Was it drugs? She's fucking beautiful, dude. I loved her. That's the way I like to think about it. But apparently
it's not a special sexuality.
Apparently I was part of the LGBTQ plus community. That's what Kayla said back in the day.
I don't know if I can do a show with you anymore.
I mean, that's hateful. That's really disgusting, and it's discriminatory. Stick. Jesus, this is all very racist. Annoyed Wawa says, Matt, there's a simple answer. Kayla is what we call in the industry an it, and Aaron qualifies on a technicality. That's not very nice. Whichever one it was. And you were completely fucked up on stream, and the cops went, well, that on top of Kayla's sister and what she's told us, and the pastor and what he's told us, and what we've observed of this guy, let's roll. We got enough. Going online and saying all this crazy shit? Maybe. We did see documentation that Kayla got offered a plea deal. We haven't seen documentation that Nick did. That doesn't mean it didn't happen. But that's the other thing. Like, now Nick is going to force other people to back up his lies. Now Kayla has to fucking dirty her soul and go with this lie. If that's what Nick's going with, then she's got to dirty her soul, admitting guilt, and then Nick's guilty, and then this grand fight against the government that he's got is gone. So he's made Kayla's life 1 million times more difficult. And again, I think some of the prescriptions Kayla's on for like anxiety, stress, and all that, I think they're Nick's fault. I think if she got away from Nick and, rebuilt her life with her parents, April too, but I think Kayla could get off some of those medications. I really do. Because I think a lot of them are Nick-induced. Because there is no doubt in his mind that they are in absolutely no danger when in Nick and Kayla's care. I would have lost my fucking children, and it would have been impossible to get them back. Because it ain't like Nick and Kayla where they're married. There would have been another person who would have had to trust me and let me see them from the courthouse Wednesday when Nick makes an ass out of himself again. No, I just, I think Nick and Kayla have their thing on Wednesday and April has hers the following Wednesday. I got my court thing on Tuesday, apparently, and was saying that he's being gay and he thinks I lied to him and this and that. I do know that all I know is what Kayla told me about Drexel. And I think those rumors about Kayla and Drexel are really gross, by the way. And Snowcat Tish says, does April have court tomorrow too? No, I have court tomorrow. Then I think Nick and Kayla have court on Wednesday. And then April has court a week from Wednesday. I was going omnibussing yesterday. And the problem with the omnibussing was first you had Kayla gets a lawyer. So Kayla gets that gets put off for another month or two or whatever. Then Nick files all of his motions thing from yesterday. Wait until you see how far this guy is willing to go. And I guess Kayla too, like how far they're willing to go to protect themselves over people they care about. The way it has, I mean, it would anybody, but again, it's the consequences of your actions. Kayla looked nice. Ralph looked photoshopped in. But I decry about the person who ratted him to Child Protective Services, which I guess the main culprits would be the pastor and Kayla's sister, I think, or maybe the old nanny. I don't know. For what her husband has put her through over the years, and she's still there. She is the fucking Kayla Rekieta of pro wrestling. Linda All right, I'm done. Oh, goddamn. Blake Meyer. I love that guy. He's fucking great. He would make some eyes at Kayla from time to time. Blake Meyer, like, he thought Kayla was the bee's knee. He was, that young man, he liked the older gals. Mentioned 6 times. Do you know what the 6th time she's referenced is that they missed in their motion to dismiss?
I don't know. What's the 6th time?
It's the time Kayla referred to her as the live-in nanny.
Oh.
Yeah. I missed her. There was an emotional reckoning that needed to happen early on. It's weird. It's fucked. I understand like how fucked up it is, but it existed. Because I remember Kayla crying to me once when April moved her stuff in. And April goes, another woman has moved her shit into my house. And she did not like it. And I remember telling her, I'm like, why don't you tell Nick you're not comfortable with this? And tell her to get the fuck out. Like, this is your house. I remember telling her, I believe I used the words, fight for your home. This is your house. Fucking fight for your home. That was always kind of my problem, was like there was this want and this desire to do better. But there was never any fucking follow through with this woman. The difference between, I'm sorry, I keep forgetting. But Kayla was always, we need to stop. This needs to be the last time we get drugs. There's a woman in my house. This is fucked, blah, blah, blah. Kayla would, as they say, nothing. McBuster says, Kayla hates April. She's just staying close to that trust fund money. I believe it was my lawyer who said, he goes, man, the things some women will do.
She changed it. She literally said she borrowed the dress from a loved one.
So she borrowed that dress from Kayla.
She says she borrowed the dress from a loved one.
That would be Kayla, because she doesn't want to say.
So who did you buy?
Kayla.
Who did you buy the dress for?
April all day long, like to my face when I was there. And they will rake me over the coals and Kayla over the coals and go, why did you forgive him for lying about the 2 chapters in the doggy book? And these other 2, we're going to throw the book at these 2. But
we're gonna let you go.
God darn it, this other gal seems nice. I mean, Kayla said you were the live-in nanny. They had plenty of reasons to keep the charges on you. But they knew what you said in the back of that cop car. He thinks he does. But Nick is a narcissist. Nick doesn't give a fuck if anything bad happens to her or Kayla, quite frankly. He's going to do what it takes to save his own ass. And the King of All Yetis says the fucked up part about all this is when they all have felonies, April is going to have to move because she isn't married to Nick or Kayla. Felons on active probation can't live together unless married. You bought her. Do you think she wears to Zoom court, says annoyed Wawa supervisor. Yeah, there's a debate going on because April said she borrowed that dress from Kayla. She said a loved one. It was Kayla. And then I showed dresses from that store. Like, I'm not fucking crazy, I don't think. Unless Kayla has that same dress, unless she bought the same dress that Kayla has, which is fucking weird. I don't know. Let's go to the text, and then we're going to go.
Make them love him.
Yeah, like, this is a tawdry story, but like, Kayla would always come and watch boxing on Thursdays. And we would always go back to my house together. Like, her and I would ride back to my house after boxing, and Nick and April would ride back to our house after boxing. Like, Kayla would come and watch boxing every week. And it was always something like, a girl watches guy. And this is back when I had more sparring partners and I could fuck. Clopogram says, Aaron, there is a rumor going around. Ooh, I love rumors. That April is taking the fall for Nick and Kayla because of the kids. That's why she's been taken to all these lavish events. I don't know where that rumor came from, by the way. Like, if she pleads guilty to 5th-degree possession, the state of Minnesota is still going to go to Nick and Kayla. Now, about your ounce. All they'll do for April if she pleads, if Nick's trying to talk, like, she can't plead guilty because then that implicates Nick and Kayla.
Right.
And if Nick's still fighting. So, I don't know. We'll watch it later. We'll see. Atomic Ray says, slowly wait for the continuances. Well, there's already been one in Kayla's case. I'm waiting to see who cracks first because now, by the motion to dismiss, also, her lawyer, I'm not going to say he lied. Like, I'm not Nick. He lied. Everybody lies. Little projection there. But her lawyer did obfuscate a little bit when he said that both parties said that she was just visiting, that Nick and Kayla both said it. Kayla said to the police that she's the live-in nanny. That was said. So that's a little different. MSO says, hi, April. Hi, April's lawyer. Old Kevin. I mean, he has to. It's his girlfriend, and his girlfriend gets mighty possessive of him, and his girlfriend is going to say, well, you paid Kayla's, and Kayla's is more expensive than mine. He's going to have to. He has to. Let's continue on here. 3 minutes? I don't think so. Streamlabs, Super Chats, Rumble Rants, PayPal. Wild Saffron says, hey, Aaron, without Nick's money, there's Kayla. What? Oh, you mean in the story? That's not very nice. Blasphemed Christ? I mean, we disrespected religion. We disrespected Nick and Kayla's extended family. I really like Kayla's stepdad. He's a solid dude. He really is just a good man. I disrespected all those people. Honky says, whose cheeks were more enjoyable to clap, Kayla's or April's? So you're not taking in any of this, are you? We're not taking in any of this. Guys, we're almost 2 drinks down tonight.
Her name is mentioned.
Now, Kiwi Farm says it's mentioned 6 times, and the one time he didn't include it was when Kayla said she was the live-in nanny. And I'll be honest, judging by how often they've been right, I trust the Farms more than I trust this guy. So, like, when I was there, they only did the coke in the bathroom, except when they brought, like, bullets places and, like, did a little tootski, right? Or Kayla had this little tray that she named Trey that she kept in her purse, and she would take that out. I did in October. We're getting Omnibus and 3. Kayla's a crowd.
And are you wanting the contested omnibus hearing right away?
Charges were dropped. I'm not an addict. Someone did this to me. You're goddamn right. You know who did it to you? Nick and Kayla Rekieta. Those are the 2 people who did it to you. And until you fix that problem, be done. I've killed a man with a paperclip. People don't know that about me. So so Nick's got to pony up the $2,000. Nick, you paid $5,000 for Kayla. You won't pay $2,000 for me. I'll take Aaron's dress back. So Nick felt like he had to go on stream to protect his main girl, April. Sorry, Kayla, you're not. Not at least in his mind. So dance puppet. Some days April's in charge, some days Nick's in charge. You know who's never in charge? Kayla. So I guess John DiCaprio, great. It's just, he's a lot for the 10 and under crowd. Popcorn Power says Kayla is going to get overdosed. Why? Why would Kayla get overdosed? Kayla's being a fucking trooper as far as Nick goes. She's letting Nick do whatever the fuck he wants. She's letting him be with his favorite girl, April. Why would she get overdosed? She's behaving, yo. Malcolm X says Nick treats Kayla like yesterday's potato salad. Sad. Yeah. You know, I wonder what Nick would have done if Kayla would have said, don't stream tonight. Could you just be with me? She doesn't need you to go out there and talk to my lawyer. He'll talk to me. We'll communicate that way. Indus Buzz says, you don't know how Nick treats Kayla. Really, Indus Buzz? I know you're wrong about just about everything, but I was going and you say, you know, pussy isn't worth this. You know, and as much as, you know, whatever on the surface thing Kayla and I have, it's insane. It's fucking crazy. It's stupid. Stop. Buffalo Jockey with $1 says, you, the big bad boxer, need a baseball bat to scare little Nick from yelling at Kayla, fucking pussy. Also, that scene you just described sounds pure inbred trailer park trash. Well, it was after. Oh, that's right. That whole fight started because Kayla didn't want to admit to Nick that she wanted to go hang out with me in bed and that Nick should go hang out with April. I want to hear you say it. Would you just fucking say it? Because they were texting in the back seat to each other. April and I were up front. And Kayla and Nick were in the back. And Nick was going like, so what do you want to do? And Kayla and Nick were in the back. And Nick was going like, so what do you want to do? And then Kayla clearly wanted, you know, we all kind of had the idea of what we were doing. And now Nick's got to explain to these people, well, she's my girlfriend. And they're like, but you and Kayla have such a loving marriage. And then I couldn't hear, I wouldn't be able to hear what Nick said because I'd just go, you know what? We're just going to write down that Kayla said that she's the live-in nanny. Fuck off. I mean, just like, what do you take us for? A bunch of idiots? Kayla Rekieta informed child protection workers that Imholte is their live-in nanny. And by the way, she was. Show, you can go help them drive the kids around. She was, that was the job. So don't get mad at Kayla for telling the truth. One of you guys should.
A child protection worker.
The same thing. Shut up. Don't even answer it. You're insulting our intelligence, bitch. No fucking way. Oh, man. How mad do you think he was at Kayla for saying that? How mad was Nick at Kayla for telling the truth? That April was a live-in nanny.
As technically or basically, I can't remember the exact wording, but it's either technically or basically a live-in nanny. And then that gets put onto Kayla as her making this claim, but that didn't happen.
Is this before or after you screamed at Kayla for saying that and hit yourself 50 times in the dome? Nick, we have like documented evidence that.
Oh, so the CPS worker goes, that's the live-in nanny, and writes it down. That becomes now a fact.
Well, did Kayla say no? God, he's even bad at lying. God, personality. The only problem is she was wise to what was going on, and none of them knew that she was wise to going on. I remember talking to Kayla about it multiple times. I'm like, Cheney knows something's up. And Kayla's like, you think something? Yeah. How can you not? Like, I come over here and I walk straight back to your bedroom. And I think because of us, she quit. And I remember this was after I was gone. Kayla wrote me and she goes, I talked to Cheney today. And apparently you weren't the only one who couldn't take it anymore. Kata's and the Imholtes that she had a problem with. And I totally get it. Snowcat Tish says, I can't believe when Kayla said April was the live-in nanny, the DA believed April is the live-in nanny. The audacity of the district attorney. They are all out to get him. Kayla needs to feel this for the sake of her children to have a free mind. This isn't going to age well for Kayla, and April is just more fuel. Evidence. Is this the same clip? This might be a duplicate, so we might be done.
Kayla did not inform a child protection worker.
Okay, that's the same clip. I would really like to see different era. There was just never hair. You know, before Kayla, the oldest person I had slept with, age difference wise, was 12 years. That person was 36 and I was 24. And off a vibe that I didn't like it. Or she was just lazy as fuck. But, oh no, I guess Kayla would still be she was the oldest age-wise, but not age difference. We're only like 3 years apart. But, no, you should, okay.
I'm a nobody ST mod. And AM doing a Citizen M says, I've been interviewing local and AM doing a video essay on the life of your wife, Kayla. Any chance you'd be willing to speak to me? I'm a nobody ST mod. No.
People are wondering if April's going to do the conditions or if she's just going to pay. She's going to pay. Nick has to pay. Nick paid for Kayla, and Nick has April believing that they're together as much as he and Kayla are together. So April will point out to him, April's not shy about getting people to do what she wants them to do. He'll go, you paid for Kayla, and that was $5. You can't pay $2 for me. He's fucking paying. And we're here. Elza Belza says, if you were new to Rekieta, you would think April is his wife and Kayla is the nanny. You would think Kayla's nowhere to be found and April's the love of his life, which, by the way, I think that second part is true. He loves that movie to an unhealthy degree, and I think April is the neighbor girl. And he's bored of Kayla. He's done with Kayla. He's said demeaning things about her publicly many, many times. And, you know, at risk of sounding like a simp, Kayla does have there's a beautiful person in there. There really is. It's just, it's been, I would not at Nick while she was doing the court appointment. Yeah, Honky writes, meanwhile, Kayla taking notes. Honey, fight for your family, sweetheart. These people don't. And then Nick fucking blew up the whole house that day. I remember texting April that Monday when Kayla texted me that. And I've told this story a million times. I get it. I understand. But I told April, I go, that during that Coke stream, he was fucked up from the beginning. So it must have been a pretty nasty day. Kayla says everybody's finished. April, of course, said everybody wasn't finished because I'm sure the lower Kayla felt, the better April felt she was going to get that #1 spot. Poor Nick, by the way. I talked to Kayla once after I was done, and Kayla goes, yeah, April said, like, she said all this shit that April said, and I'm like, oh my God, she's lying to you. Like, it's 100% not true. And then Kayla goes, she told Nick that he was the last relationship she ever wanted to have, so there wasn't going to be anyone else. Because Kayla was like, you and I can still hang out. What if you meet somebody? If I meet somebody, I meet somebody. April won't meet anybody else because she said she wants Nick to be the last person. She won't do another relationship after him. I said, Kayla, sweetie. She said that to me too. Like after she was done with that, like maintaining the relationship is a necessity. They just need the win. And so I guess she was working Kayla over. Then there's the story about how April made, this is according to Kayla, April made Nick go and get more cocaine, and that was the cocaine they ended up getting busted with. Because Kayla said, Nick, we're done after this. It's over. No more drugs after this batch is done. And then Kayla says April threw a fit and said, I will go myself to go get more. I'll go by myself. I'll take Nick's credit card, blah, blah, blah. And Nick's like, no, Kayla, I have to go with her. I can't let her go by herself. And Kayla's like, she's not good. And Nick's like, no, Kayla, I have to go with her. I can't let her go by herself. And Kayla's like, she's not good. Again, this is how Kayla told the story. She won't go by herself. You don't have to fucking go with her. And then he went with her. He went with April to get more, according to Kayla. And then that was the stuff they got busted with. Professor Tie-Dye with $1 says Nick is the standard lawyer, a complete dipshit convinced of how amazing he is. Also, Nick might be trying to pin the drugs on Kayla, letting him and Stinky Puss off scot-free. Do we have to call her Stinky Puss? I don't know. Pinning it on Kayla that would complete his turn for being the most evil piece for tomorrow or Monday. So I do appreciate it. Stop Big Troon says, you also think Kayla isn't a cunty whore. Jesus. I mean, she's not out there publicly fucking, they're fucking shameless in the way they're destroying that family. But, at least Kayla's been, shh, hush, hush. All right, guys, thank you very much. I appreciate you joining us today. Hey, let's pick on a guy for a little bit because their show sucks or they don't do a show where they're not any good. Like, subscribe, share, the whole thing.